Hello, everyone. And I'm sideways again. Seems to always happen at the very start of the show. Hello. Thank you all for joining us. Hopefully you're having a great Monday and I hope you had a wonderful weekend. Let's see. Anna's here, says, hi friends, going to be driving when you go live. So I'll say hi now, listening in the car. Hello, Anna. Thank you for saying hi. Marianne is here. Hello, Marianne. Haven't seen you on a live in a little bit. Glad to see you here. Kimberly is here. Hello, Kimberly. Thank you for joining in. I just tried to tag some of our followers and friends to join us today. Hopefully, we'll get some people out here today hanging out with us. In addition to all those who are here, thank you for being here. So today was the day that I took off. I've been talking about having headaches lately and having some back pain and shoulder pain. And so my mom brought me a care package up to the store of some ointments and different things. And she also made me promise to take Monday off. She said I can do the live, but I had to promise to take Monday off as far as work was concerned and have kind of a down day for myself. And so I did that today. Marian says, just don't need temptation. I get it. It's still nice to see you though. You can hang out for the chat portion. You can always come to chat and then head out before we start the live sale. Sandra's here. Hello, Sandra. Hello, Norma. Hello, Susie. Thank you all for joining me. I don't know if my ears feel like they need to pop, and I didn't really go over any big mountains, but I did drive. I just got back. I went over to Lynn Run Park, and hey, Susie, thank you for joining us. And there is a place called Flat Rocks. It's right at the start of the park. I don't have to go too far into the park. It's a state park. And one of the very first spaces is called Adam Falls and Flat Rock. And so I really enjoy going to the Flat Rock portion because it is there's a little river that runs through, and you can kind of sit on the rocks there and just listen to the water go by. If you want to, there are literally flat rocks out in the river that if you want to cross some of the water, you can go out and sit kind of in the middle of the river. And I've done that before too. And I just kind of go there and I like to kind of sit and meditate and listen to the water. I don't do it often enough. I always feel really greatly recharged when I do that. The last time I did that was for the autumn equinox, actually last year, before I went up to the store. Andrew was also away, I think, that time that I went. But I got up really early one day and went over and just kind of for the autumn equinox, just wanted to kind of gather some leaves and some, just some things, the autumnal things. And I sat in the middle of the river on the rocks and just meditated. And today I kind of sat on the edge because there were a lot of kids there playing in the water and sliding around on the rocks. And I didn't bring a towel. I didn't bring in case I fell. So I was like, I'm just going to sit on the edge. So I found a little edge and I just sat there and I just kind of closed my eyes and meditated for a while. And then I just kind of watched the water go by for a while, just to kind of quiet my brain down. And it was really nice. I spent more time. I was going to come back and do a run, and I actually kind of lost track of time. I don't actually know how long I was there because I don't know when I exactly got there. But I had looked at my clock at one point. It was 5 o'clock. And then I thought I spent like another 10 minutes. And then I looked again and it was 6:15. So I spent 45 minutes not realizing that much time had passed by. but it was really nice. And then I walked the other way, and I did go up to Adam Falls. I didn't do the full Adam Fall trail, but I kind of went to see the falls. It's just trickling right now. There's barely any water out there, so there's not a lot of water going over the falls. But it was nice to go up there and take a walk. I did a little bit of jogging. There's kind of an incline going up to the falls, and I kind of jogged up that because I realized I wasn't going to get home in time to do my run around town. And I'm like, why am I worrying about running around town? Like, I was trying to pressure myself. Like, if I leave here now, I can get home and I can run. I'm like, you can run the trails too. So I did a little bit of running, kind of jogging on the trails up the incline to get a little bit of exercise. But I didn't do too much of that. I was just kind of walking around and kind of sitting around and meditating in various areas. I also sat up by the falls and just kind of sat on a rock, and kind of it was quieter. There were a lot fewer people up at the falls than there were down in the water. So it was kind of nice, quiet time. And then I came back, and I got here just in time to grab a few things. I'm going to do mostly loose kind of gemstones. You know, we do the loose gemstone shows sometimes. I'm going to do those, but I'm going to I think I'm going to do them in little batches instead of doing them completely loose. You know how sometimes we do when we only have 1 or 2 or 3 stones left, we'll put them in a little batch and give you an even better price on them. So I think that's a lot of what's going to be tonight. I was trying to think about what I could do. I was trying not to pressure myself too much to, you know, come up with too much tonight, because as I promised my mom, I wasn't going to do work during the day. I did a little bit of social media sharing, but that was easy stuff, nothing that I had to come up with or develop, you know, like a new poster, or sometimes I use Canva or other things. Just kind of did a little bit of sharing, and worked a little bit, just posted on my William Tries things a little bit, and things that, you know, weren't necessarily work, but I could do a little bit of something. But for the most part, I slept in today. I knocked myself out last night because I didn't want to get hives again. I took some Benadryl and I took some valerian and sleepy time tea, and I kind of knocked myself out last night, and I slept really well. I still didn't get to bed till pretty late, but I slept in. I allowed myself to sleep in, knowing that there was nothing I was planning to do all afternoon. That's some kind of luxury, I'll tell you that. I do sometimes miss working for other people in the weekends when you actually had a weekend. Although most of the time I worked for other people, I still didn't have a weekend because I was managing something or in charge of something. And so I often still thought about work all the time. But this was nice, knowing that I had promised that I'm going to do nothing pretty much. And just take a day to recharge. I could sleep in not feeling guilty about it, because I always feel guilty, even though my sleeping in is only sleeping in because I go to bed at 4 in the morning. So it feels like sleeping in, but usually I'm probably getting less sleep than a lot of people. But I did sleep in, got up with the cats a little bit, fed the cats. And then we went outside for a little bit until a big truck drove by and it scared them all. So they all ran to the house. And so we went in the house, and I listened to some music. I'm trying to think. No, I had a few little snacks, like a banana, and I had a Nutty Buddy bar. But I didn't eat. I didn't make anything to eat. I'm just going to wait for dinner. I have some leftover of my fajitas that I'm going to make. And so today was kind of like the never done luxury day. Like I feel I feel a little guilty, but I also promised to do it, so I don't feel too guilty, because I you know, that was the promise, and helps my mom feel better that I'm taking a little bit of care of myself. So yeah, that's what I did. That's what I did today. And I got back here, like I said, just in time to hang out with all of you. I literally just walked in the door a few minutes ago, and I was thinking while I was there, I know that's doing work, but I was thinking, let's do some loose gemstone kind of lots. And I have a whole box of these here, and it's already kind of gathered together for me. So we're going to do that, and hopefully you like them. If you're new to the show, every once in a while when we have strands that we've either taken apart or have fallen apart, or maybe the strands are just very expensive, and after trying to sell them as a whole strand, sometimes we decide to take them apart and sell them bead by bead. So I often do things like loose gemstones, and every once in a while we do a show of these, and it allows you to buy really nice, generally these are like some very nice stones or interesting shapes that you don't have to buy the whole strand of, because it would be expensive, or maybe you don't want like a whole strand of that shape. So that's what we're going to do. Some of these may actually be singular, like one at a time, and some, if we're getting down to the last of something, I will probably just gather it together, give it an extra special good deal, and try and sell it as the lot. So that's what we're going to do. Let's see here. Now, Marion says I've been doing a lot of reading as well. That's good. Reading is nice. Let's see. Susie says, I went to school by there. We always walked up there to explore. Nice. Yeah, I like it there. Oops. Marion says, you should commit to doing that at least once a month. Yes, I should. I should do it more often, really. Because, you know, you get a lot, I think sometimes you get a lot more ideas by freeing your mind up than trying to pressure yourself. I was having different ideas for different things. I try not to do work. I was trying to stay, you know, kind of blanked out and meditate, but it's going to sneak in. It always is going to sneak in a little bit, I think, having your own business especially. But, you know, Andrew and I do not, we don't really get together to just do things like that together very often. So I would like to start trying to do that, at least taking part of a day every week, and kind of go for a walk somewhere, or just kind of sit and, you know, be out somewhere together. So we'll see how it goes, if I can talk him into it or not. Because if it's just up to me, I don't know that I'll do it for myself. But if I have somebody else that is, you know, pushing me to do that with them, and I know it's good for both of us, then I'm more apt to make the time and make the effort to do it. But it is really, it feels weird to relax. Like there's a little bit of guilt attached to it, of course, because that's the way I am. Thinking that I took a whole day almost for myself. Like if I didn't do the live tonight, I'd be like, you just took a whole day and didn't do anything. And that's, you know, that's not a good, don't be like me. Don't get into that mentality, because that's not a good one. You should be able to take a day for yourself completely if you want to, and do nothing if you want to, at least once in a while. And I am not good at that. I have always felt guilty about doing that. And it comes from having that poverty mindset, where if you're not working, you're not making money, and you have to work hard to make money, and all that stuff. If you're not working, you know, you're not worth as much. And it's all that mindset you get when you grow up without a lot. And so, you know, but everybody who I know who isn't in that mindset, who has a lot of money, they're all about taking time for themselves, right? And that's part of what they do often. So I think I have to realize that, and not that I can take super amounts of time off, because I do have a lot to do, but I think it is healthy, and I felt very calm today. And that was nice to actually feel that way, and just know that, you know, a lot of times I will fight myself all day long. Like if I don't make that hard decision to say, tomorrow I'm doing nothing until the live or something like that, then I will get up and I will say, oh, I should be doing this, but I need a break. I'll just do a little bit later. And then I push that to later. I'm like, oh, I know I said I would do this later, but I still need a little bit of time. I still feel exhausted. I'm going to do it a little bit later. And I do that. It's like hitting the snooze button. You know how guilty sometimes you feel, or how worse you feel when you hit the snooze button over and over instead of just like deciding you're not getting up yet. That's what I do to myself. And that's my days off are usually not planned. They're taken because of out of necessity, that I'm exhausted. And then I make myself feel guilty because I keep saying I'm going to do it a little later, and then I don't. And it was so nice to just say, tomorrow I can't do anything. I promised my mom I was not doing anything, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going back on that promise. So it was nice to just wake up and know that the day is clear. There's no guilt about this. This is the way it's supposed to be. And it's so foreign to me. You know, I watched, and the reason my mom is doing this, and I know why she told me this, is because that used to be her. And she knows what it's like. She used to work excessively. She used to bring work home, even in the off hours. She would work on weekends. And, you know, she never took a lot of time for herself. And she realizes now how important that is. And she's trying to get me to do it. So I'm trying to learn from her and listen to her a little bit. And even though I do feel a little guilty for taking pretty much a whole day, knowing that that was something that I had to do because I promised I would, I could do it without feeling that way and feeling guilty about putting things off. So yeah. Hey, Susan, thanks for joining us. I'm so glad you're here. I saw your package. Your Mookie is waiting for the package. I don't know what is going on with that. It made it where it seemed like it should have, and then it took off somewhere else and has been sitting there. It's so weird. One thing I will say is sometimes we can't call post offices. Sometimes they won't tell us once it leaves us, even though we're the sender. But if you are the recipient of something and you call the post office to ask what's happening, a lot of times, you know, it always depends who you get on the phone, but a lot of times they might be able to give you more information. So if your package ever goes somewhere weird or sits somewhere, never hesitate to like look up that post office and try giving them a call to see, to make sure everything's okay. Like I said, we can't always do it. They won't always talk to us. Sometimes they will because we are the sender, but sometimes once it's out of our hands, it's kind of like it's not ours anymore. It's weird. And maybe that's just who I get on the phone sometimes too, but always feel free to call them. And that's what the first thing I always recommend to people if their package is like on a hold somewhere or seems to have gone missing, is to call your local post office and see if they can start the help for you. Because like I said, a lot of times we can ask hours, but once it goes to the next post office, there's very little that we're able to do. So we always recommend, if as a first step, to try calling your post office or stopping by and speaking with them. But hopefully it'll be on the way. It doesn't look like it's like lost. It just went somewhere different instead for some reason. Kim is here. Hello, Kim. Thanks for joining us. Happy Monday to you as well. Sandra says self-care is so important. It is. And, you know, I always feel so selfish taking it, but I'm realizing that it's okay to be selfish sometimes, right? It's that whole put your mask on before you help other people in the plane kind of thing. Like, there's only so much that we can keep doing before we exhaust ourselves. And if we exhaust ourselves, it's usually worse than taking a day. And I have learned that, well, I have acknowledged that. I don't know if I've actually learned that yet. Life has been trying to teach me that. And I think that's one of those things that I need to be better about. And being a little bit selfish and taking a little bit of time for myself every once in a while is not going to like bankrupt us. I have to get that in my mind that like, if I take one day, it's not going to make the whole thing crumble. Um, and so, that's, the feeling of being a small, as you probably know, Sandra, being a small business owner, and when things are mostly all on you, it does sometimes feel like if you take that day, everything's going to crumble down, everything's going to grind to a halt. But it's also, I think, very important. And I think, like I said, it also frees your mind up sometimes to come up with new ideas or just, process things in different ways. I do, like I keep talking about this, I do think I have ADHD, and I'm working on finding someone to possibly really look into that. And I do have one of those brains. I've realized that one of the symptoms of it that's often talked about is you have a hard time determining which, like, the order of importance of things. Like, everything just feels so important. And I never thought that I had that before. I thought I was very good at being like, figuring out what I need to do next. And the more I think about things, it's a big part of my anxiety is that I feel that everything is as important as everything else. And a lot of my anxiety, I do feel like, comes from the idea that everything feels big. Everything feels like crushing some days. And kind of taking this day and kind of, like being out in nature. Nature helps me a lot. Being out in the woods, I grew up in the woods a lot. And I feel home there. Like, it feels good to be out there. I like watching the little creatures run around. I was watching some like daddy long leg spiders run on tree trunks today. Like, it was just that kind of, and just realizing how small our personal worlds are compared to everything else that's going on. Sometimes that helps me to kind of reset and realize that the things that I'm worrying about, not everything is a big giant worry, right? If I'm behind on this one thing, that doesn't mean that it's as important as being behind on this thing. And I'm already caught up on that thing. So this one isn't really as important. And I do have a hard time with that. And it is a symptom of ADHD, of not being able to figure out priority of importance of things, and kind of giving the same weight to everything. And that is definitely something I do. And it is definitely something that, like I said, being out in nature today and watching the bugs run around and thinking about, like, it's strange, but I start thinking about, like, wonder what their world is like. Like, they're running around here all day doing these things, catching things to eat and building homes or whatever they're doing. And like thinking about what they're thinking about. I know that's weird. I don't know that they think as much as we do. Who knows what they do? We don't know. I believe they're tapped into a consciousness too. And so I think about like what their world must be like. And they're just out there doing their thing. And, they're not out there, worrying about anything but what they need to worry about. And every creature's life is like that. Like, you're just in your own world and you create your own world so much. And I don't really want to continue creating a world that is so top heavy like that, that is so, where everything is so vitally important that I get it done, that, I feel this crushing anxiety. So that is, like some of the things that I was thinking about today. And it really did help. And I think it's something that I need to do more often. And I would highly recommend, if you don't get a chance to go out and do things like that too often, or if you feel anyway like what I'm describing, it might be good to go out in the woods or in a park and watch the bugs. I don't know, but it helped me. Marion says, okay, for both of you, right? Hello, Susan. Thank you for joining in as well. Susan says, I refuse to feel guilty about self-care. That mentality belongs in a dumpster fire. Yes, I know. I should not feel guilty. I've always just, I've not had great self-image before, so taking care of myself never came it never became a very important thing to me. And I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to feel better about myself. And I think part of that, I think it's a give and take. Like, you can't really feel better about yourself unless you start taking care of yourself, right? And how do you take care of yourself if you don't really feel great about yourself? So, like, you have to have a little bit of both. And I often try one without the other. A lot of times I try to feel better about myself, but I don't do the self-care thing. And I think that you need that reciprocal action on things in order for it to really succeed and really kind of feel like you're making progress. And yeah, I've never been great about self-care, but I'm trying to be better, especially as I get older, especially as I've had some health issues lately. That's my body telling me and my brain telling me, you need to do this. But you're right. That mentality should not be something anyone should have. No one should feel guilty about taking time for themselves and improving themselves in some way. Like, I never felt guilty when I went to school, even though that was in a way self-care, right? But we feel guilty sometimes taking the day off or taking an hour off. And I know Andrew suffers from this too, because growing up, his value as a person in his household, was very much dependent upon how much work he got done and the grades he got and, how much he could produce. And he still gets that way sometimes. And we try to remind each other, like, you are not what you produce. You are not just how much you can get done. And yet we'll tell each other that, but it's very hard to take that internally for ourselves. Kim says, type A personality, guilty here too. Yeah, I don't know if I'm fully type A. I don't know. I'm a little bit, but like, not fully, but it's definitely, I have some of where it's like, got to get stuff done, got to do it myself. I'm getting better at asking for help on things, but I'm still not, there yet. It's very much a take charge of it, I'll handle it kind of thing. And I'm trying to work on that too. Because not asking for help means I do put myself under extra pressure. And not only that, I don't give myself time because I'm too busy trying to do everything myself, that I don't give myself time to take this time off sometimes when I need to. So yeah, you get it. Marion's not a snooze button person. That you don't know the pain and the guilt. I am a snooze button person, and I will snooze right up to the moment I possibly can't anymore. And I feel guilty every time I do it, because I'm like, I should just get up. I could do a little bit extra. Usually it's because I'm not doing work. I could do a little bit extra work if I just got up earlier. But sometimes it's like, I could have done something nice for myself or for Andrew, like make breakfast, or if I got up a little bit earlier. So definitely, yeah. Sue says, cancer is what taught me to take time to myself. So important. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I do very much stress myself out. And, that is not good physically or mentally for your body to be under that kind of stress without taking a little bit of time. And so I am trying to learn that too. A few people in my family, some, directly related to me, bloodline, some not, have suffered from cancer in the last few years. And, seeing them go through that and knowing that a lot of that, because a lot of them are, very hard workers and, didn't take a lot of time for themselves. I'm starting to see like how sickness and things like that can be part of, what happens when you don't care for yourself. And, yeah, I mean, going through my heart issues, I fully 100% believe that my heart issues came from stress. And that was not only stress and anxiety, but also not eating right, which came from the stress, not sleeping well, which came from the stress. And, ever since then, I've been trying to get better about it. I'm not great at it, but trying to be better about self-care. And I've not had a relapse of it. So, I do believe that came from that. And I believe there are other things that can come from stress. And so I'm trying to be better, because I know, I know some of the things that have happened to some of my family members as they've gotten older, and some of the health issues that run in our family, and stress is not going to help them. So, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to take things more one day at a time, instead of trying to look 5 days into the future and wondering if we're going to make it that far. I'm just trying to take it one day at a time. Hello, Diane. Thanks for joining us tonight. Anne is here as well. Hello, Anne. Thank you for joining us. Anne says, William, I hope you had a restful day off. I did. That's what I was just talking about. I got up. I slept in, knowing I didn't have to get up and do anything. I didn't feel guilty for sleeping in. First, I knocked myself out real good last night for bed. I did stay up a little later and watch some TV and just kind of binge watched a little bit, which I try not to do too much of, but I allowed myself to do it last night. And once I got tired, I knocked myself out. I slept in. I got up. I played with the cats a little bit. I did a little social media news reading. Had a few little snacks, some fruit and some cookies, and took the cats outside. And then I went to the state park over near us and meditated by the water for probably an hour or an hour and a half or more, maybe 2 hours. I don't know. I lost track of time. I don't know when I actually got there and when I actually left. But I was over there for quite a while, just kind of hanging out and getting in touch with nature. So thank you, Anne. I did. Susan says, a really small post office, so maybe I will try tomorrow to call them. Yeah, if it's a small one especially, they might very well know exactly what's going on. Susan says, since I retired, I've become very protective of my time. I guard who has access to it. Yeah, I guess I don't, like, we're not around a lot of people. So, there aren't a lot of push and pull from people around us as far as me guarding my time from other people, but I should guard what has access. Instead of who, I need to be more guarding of what has access to my time. Because there's a lot in our life that doesn't need to have so much access to my time. And if I worked on that, I think that would be a good thing. I think it's a smart thing. Yeah. Susan says, I'm with you, Susan, right? I think you have to be. I think you have to be a little bit careful of who has access. Kim says, hi, Kimberly, love the pearl necklace you made on your channel. I need to tune into your channel. That's one of these things I need to catch up on. I have a list of things that I need to write down because it's a mental list right now. And I need to get it on paper so that I can catch up with some of y'all in various ways. I tried to spend some time catching up with some people today. That was part of what I did on social media today, was just kind of catching up and seeing where people are and commenting on a few things here and there. But I definitely need to check out your channel again, Kimberly. Kimberly says, oh, thank you. And thank you for watching it, Kim. Susan says, William, your time off seems to agree with you. Yes, I had a good day. I don't really feel guilty doing it today because I promised someone I would. It's weird how that works, right? You promise your mom you're going to do something and then you do it and you don't have to feel guilty about it, because moms know best, right? I don't know if I could do that all the time. Like, I would love to do it weekly. I don't know if weekly is going to be something I'm going to feel not guilty about. But yeah, I tried to do it for a day and not get too, we'll see how my anxiety works out tonight. As I'm thinking about what I didn't do today, but I'm going to try and stay out of that. I'm going to try, I've been listening to a lot of manifestation stuff, and a lot of them talk about, just because you push harder doesn't mean you're going to get more done. And I fully do believe that, because there are days that I will spin my wheels, as they say, trying to work as hard as I can, pushing out emails and text messages and social media posts and putting things in the online store and doing the live and trying to pack as much as possible. And in the end, all that effort that I put out there, a lot of times doesn't bring in much. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't always do any better than if I'd have just done like one email and the live and be done, so, and when I look at things, like, I grew up with that poverty mentality, that kind of poverty trauma, where the more you do, supposedly the more you can make. But that's not always the case. And when you look at a lot of people, like I said, who do have a lot of money, a lot of times they take a lot of time for themselves, and they value, they very much value having free time. And, not that is always going to work for everybody, but at the same point, I think that is a lesson I need to look at and learn better, is that I don't have to push every second, every minute of every day. And, when I think about it and when it comes down to it, whether I push or I don't push as hard, as my mom says, things always work out for us. And, for the most part, I have to agree with that, is that my mom says we've always been taken care of. That's how she says it. We've always been taken care of. And looking back, as traumatic as some of my childhood was, for the most part, we were always taken care of, whether it was by her, whether it was by family, whether it was by friends, whether it was by generosity of somebody we didn't know. In some way, we were always taken care of. And I'm trying to realize that. I can sit here and say it and acknowledge it, but there's a deeper realization, like a deeper feeling, that you have to be secure in that. And that's where I'm trying to get to, is realizing that is honestly a truth. That is not just like, we have been up until now, but who knows what's going to happen later. I get into that kind of speak, and I'm like, I've been alive for 45 years, and for 45 years, the projection has always taken me in the direction of, I am taken care of and things work out for us. Like, that has been the direction. So why am I trying to say, well, maybe the next one's not going to be that way? And why, right? Why, instead of just letting go and believing that things work out for us? I'm not a necessarily religious person, but there's the idea of giving it up to God, or, praying is the same thing. And it's oftentimes like, when you let go of something is when it actually happens. So, like, I was looking for love, looking for somebody to date, always looking when I was in New York, always looking. It was not until I said, you know what? I am fine. I have a nice job. I don't need to worry so much. I am just going to relax. And, I had broken up with somebody, and I was like, I'm taking time. This is it. Like, it's just me. And that's when Andrew entered into the picture. And, I think a lot of things happen like that, when you finally do let go and you say that thing that you've been trying to hold on to or you've been trying to grab onto, it's okay to not have it. And that's usually when it happens, right? So I'm trying to, stop worrying so much about certain things that I worry about all the time. And I'm trying to realize, that things work out. Um, the whole idea behind a lot of the people that teach, manifestation or, a lot of that kind of thing that I'm reading, even the brain science of things, a lot of it is that, things are supposed to work. Things, you're here and you have a tendency to do the things that are good for you generally, whether you're purposefully doing it or not. When you let yourself just be who you are, you know, whether you believe that, some people I know believe in reincarnation. You've picked a path and you've come back to do that thing, or, you're here to serve a purpose. I don't know where I fall in all of that, but I do think if you are doing things that make you happy and you are filling your life with love as much as possible, I think a big thing is working out of love. If you are doing that as much as possible, I think things are meant to work out. I think things are meant to happen to you that are good. And so I'm trying to keep that in mind, because we do definitely try to work out of love in everything that we do. We're always trying to do the best for people. We're always trying to do, what's right for people. Whether that's as friends or as a business, it's the same. It's always, and that's what things boil down to me anymore for, or in a way, I think, is that I look at things and I'm like, do I believe this person is working from a place of love, or is this person working from some other place? And if they're working out of a place of love, no matter, how strange their ideas may be, some people have strange ideas. Who am I to call them strange, really? I have strange ideas. But, if they're working from a place of love, that's probably somebody that I want to get along with, and probably somebody that I will get along with, hopefully. But people who don't work from a place of love or compassion, those generally are people that I'm trying to keep away from me at this point. And so, it's really kind of, I'm trying to change into that mentality of, like I said, you don't have to work so hard. You just have to do the things that you enjoy doing and do them with love and with purpose, and let the good things come. And because I do, history has shown me, my entire 45-year history has shown me that when I do the things that I love the most, that's when the biggest surprises sometimes, or the biggest manifestations of things that I've always dreamed of happening actually happen. So yeah, anyway, thank you, Susan. I'm glad it looks like it agrees with me. I got very introspective today, and I've been thinking about a lot of this stuff today. Susan says, just got a notification my package arrived in Raleigh. Is that closer or further away to you? Kim says, we volunteer at the local food pantry. That grounds me. Not sure if that is relevant, but it helps me. That's nice. I think you have to always do something that is that grounds you or feels good to you. Like I said, that's working out of compassion, working out of love. That is something, I think those kind of things are what fuel us, really. And if you start working out of hate, or you start working out of revenge, that can fuel somebody too. But I believe that's the kind of fuel that exhausts you. I work a lot of times out of anxiety or fear, and that can push me a long way. But it can also be the most detrimental, to my health and to what I feel afterwards. And so I'm trying to realize that if I work out of joy, and I work out of love, and I work out of, a sense of calm and a sense of right, then I think you don't have to work as hard for the same outcomes. I think things flow better. At least I'm hopeful. I might be completely wrong. I hope not. But I feel like that's where things should be and where things are meant to be. And you're meant to flow better, and you're meant to, you'll come across more synchronicities and more people who want to help you and support you when you work from that place, rather than, and truly work from that place, not put on airs that you are that person. Like, I try very much not to be a fake person. The other day, I just wrote a post about how angry I've been. Like, that is, not, if I were one of those goody feel good all the time, trying to be people, I would not write things like that. But I think if you truly are doing your best to come from a place of love and compassion in what you do, and joy for what you do, I really do think that's how we're supposed to function. And I think that's the flow you're supposed to get into. That's the river you're in. You're going to head down river, and you're not going to have to, paddle so hard to make some progress. You just let that carry you. And, I think we feel guilty sometimes for sometimes being in the current, right? We feel guilty if we're not working harder and the currents of life are taking us in good directions. But I also think that's how life is meant to be. I don't think it is meant to be, super hard. Now, some people choose different paths, and, how you feel about that is how you feel. But I have always felt that my life, was not meant to be incredibly stressful, and I've made it that way. Because, like I said, when I look back, things have worked out for me. And it's not a lot of times through any doing of my own. It's just that things have happened to me through other people and through sometimes strangers, and that, and I feel guilty sometimes admitting that, but that's the truth of it. And I'm very thankful for that. And I need to show thanks for that instead of trying to work hard and being, guilty, feeling guilty about that. Life has given me these things, and I should feel good and gracious for them. Anyway, I'm getting on a lot of tangents here. Susan, hello, Susan, says, I recently have had conversations with friends around this topic of self-care. Whoops, comments jumped. Let me jump back up here. Many of us feel it begins with our internal self-talk about ourselves, how we hold ourselves in high regard. What a journey. Yeah, my self-talk is very kind of terrible. I am very not nice to myself most of the time. I'm getting better about that. But my self-talk, I have realized over the years that my self-talk does not reflect most people's opinions of me. Most people that I meet actually like me. Like, they think I'm pretty nice to hang out with. But my self-talk does not always, I always find something wrong with myself. I always find something wrong with what I've done. I very often go back into the past and re-embarrass myself over things I've said or done that no one else probably remembers at all, or they actually thought it was funny and it wasn't something that I needed to worry about. I'm very hard on myself. And so that very much has stopped me from doing a lot of self-care, and it has stopped me from feeling that I deserve a lot of the self-care. And so I think you're right. It does often begin with self-talk and how we talk about ourselves and to ourselves. And so I'm trying to be kinder to myself. And as I've been doing that, I have noticed that, things are opening up, but also, like, I've been having more inclinations to take care of myself. So the better I feel about myself, the more my body says, hey, William, wouldn't a run be nice? And then I feel really good after I do it. And hey, William, wouldn't going out in the woods be nice? And then I feel really good after doing it. And so I think you're right. I think it's very important, and it is a journey. It is a journey. Um, so I'm happy to be on that journey. Everything's a journey, and there's really, I think, no end to it. I believe there's no real end to it, and so I think it's an important thing. I have a cat out. I don't know who that is. It sounds like Tallulah, maybe. There's a cat crying outside my door here. Marion says, I like to do things for me. Haha. See, that's good. I love to do things for me, but I feel exceptionally guilty when I do. And that's the thing, is that my natural inclination is to spoil myself. And that may be a bold statement, maybe, but I have always been that way. It's one of the reasons when I was younger that I didn't want to have children, because I was not sure that I could set time aside, because I liked to do things for me. And somewhere along the line, I started to believe that I was very selfish because of that. And I guess that kind of is the definition of selfish a little bit, but I wasn't, it wasn't selfish in a way that it was hurting anybody else. But I still started to feel like it was wrong to do those things for me. And I don't know where or when that started happening or why necessarily. I don't know if it's somebody I dated said something. I can't remember the exact moment, but I started to feel bad about doing things for myself. And that's when a lot of my anxiety started, is when I started fighting against that and started feeling guilty for the things I was doing for myself. And that's really when a lot of that kind of started up. The self-inflicted anxiety. I had anxiety from what happened with my family and all that too, but the more self-inflicted anxiety, the more, the incessant comments kind of anxiety, that really, really started when I took a step back and felt like I was being too guilty for doing things for myself. But I like to do things for myself too. I like to do things for myself, but I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with all that, but Kimberly says, I saw you liking and loving things on Facebook. I was doing that. I was finally on a little bit today to try and get through, not to do work, but to actually just catch up with people. I went into my friends tab. So on Facebook, I don't know if y'all know this, but they have finally implemented an easy to get to friends tab so that you can just see your friends. And I keep forgetting about it. And I think they want you to forget about it. But I was going through and I was just seeing things, a lot of ads and I was like, why are they? And then it hit me, you have a friends button. So you can just click on that friends button in the app and it just shows you your friends timeline. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's exactly chronological order, but it's usually within the last 24 hours or 2 days or so, at least what I was seeing. So it was so nice, and I just need to realize I need to do that a little bit more and connect with people a little more. I started writing some messages to people and just checking in on people. It was really nice to be able to do that. Susan says, that is true as well, William. Some people get into power trips controlling what others do. Yeah, that's a thing. That's a thing. And I can fall into that. Not necessarily trying to control what others do, but allowing others to control what I do. And even if they're not even doing it, sometimes I think that they want me to do something, so I feel like I have to do it. And so I'm trying to, break free of a lot of that stuff. Sue says, sometimes pushing harder means getting less done due to mistakes and mishaps. Yeah, and when I push a lot harder to cram a lot more in, I know I'm not giving everything a deep focus. And sometimes it's not even mistakes and mishaps. It's just that the message isn't clear or the message is surface, And I think that is a big thing that can happen. And it often happens to me, especially because my attention span is very not great. I I do have a hard time trying to push a lot of stuff in when I can't actually sit and really kind of focus on one. So I just end up feeling like I do a lot of work, but a lot of it is not. I get stuff done, but I mark things off the list, but I don't know that I made a good enough effort. And if I would have just brought the list down to 2 things instead of 10 and really worked really well on those 2 things, probably would have made up for all the rest. So yeah, it's definitely true. Marion says, absolutely true, Susan. Kim says, agree, Susan, makes it worse, right? Diane says, instead of trying to take an entire day off, plan smaller chunks of time off and keep to it. Yeah, that's hard for me too. That's hard for me too. I think, I don't know. Smaller chunks of time I feel like are harder for me to do than if I would take a day like this once in a while. So I have to look at that, because I get into that pattern where I'm like, but it's okay to skip this little bit of time off. I know I set this time aside, but if I just take this, I do the same thing. I snooze that time off. And today I knew this chunk from morning until 7 o'clock tonight, I am not doing the things. And, I might not be able to do that as often, but I think that's more for me a way that I can do it, because I can, kind of plan things. Because for me, if I took a smaller chunk today, I probably wouldn't have gone to the park, or the waterfall, because I'd be like, oh, I got to get back in time. I don't know if I have time to get there and back. And so I would have just kind of probably kept around the house and probably kept working. So yeah, for some people that might be better. I think for me, I would like to try to really implement at least like a full half day off, morning until kind of evening here when I get things started and going, at least every 2 weeks or so, because I don't know that I can do it every week. I would like to, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens from today, right? Marion says, witness the veggies you got. The universe provides, right? I know. I've been getting a lot of stuff lately. Different forms of abundance. And that is something I am trying to learn too. There are different forms of abundance, and they are all good. A lot of times we focus on money because that's, we got to pay our bills, and we're a small business, and that's what we often are in the lack of the most. But at the same time, having somebody send us a gift card for food, for our food bill, that is abundance. And that is, it's not quite money, but it's, somebody dropping off vegetables and fruits for us, that is abundance. That is a day or two of food that I don't have to purchase. Somebody giving you advice, that is abundance. If it's advice that is well received and something you can implement, I have found that to be very, very good. And I am grateful for that. So there's a lot of ways to be abundant. And, when you're lacking in a major one, which our whole civilization is built around, sometimes it's hard to remember that there are other things out there. And that's what I'm trying to do. Susan says, yes, letting of what does not work opens the way for our good. Yes, it does. You got to let go of what's not working. And, me cramming things into every single day is not working. It is not working. It is making me feel worse. It is making me feel like, it makes me feel like I can't do a good job on any one thing. I'm just doing an okay job on a lot of things. And that's the kind of energy, if you're putting that kind of energy out into the world, that nothing you do is good enough, it's just okay, then you're only going to get okay results back, right? That's what I feel like. And so you attract the energy you put out. And if I'm putting out an energy like that I'm only doing okay, we're only ever going to do okay back. And so I would like to, take some time off for myself once in a while so that I can feel rested and feel like, okay, I'm getting myself back together today. I'm regrouping and we're going to go at it tomorrow. Hello, Suzanne. Thank you for joining. Let's see here. Oops. What are you doing? Okay. Raleigh is next door to me. Oh, good. That means it's heading back, because I think it went through your area and then left, and then it's now coming back. Strangely. Sorry, my computer went dark. Talking too much. I hope I'm not boring everybody. Kimberly says we are our own worst critics. Yes, oftentimes. Some of us are. Some of us treat ourselves really well, right? You know those people. You're like, who are they to say they're so great? Well, good for them. That's the way I look at things now. I'm like, good for them that they have a high opinion of themselves, because it's hard in this world to have a high opinion of ourselves, I think. At least I know it's hard for me. And so when I see someone like that, it's more jealousy than anything. Like, why are they able to have such a good opinion of themselves when I treat myself like this? But I can treat myself better, right? I can change that. It's me. I can change anything I want. Life is definitely a journey, says Marianne. Yes. Susie says, I tend to put others before myself. It took a long time to learn that I can't give others if my cup is empty. Yes. That's Marianne says, you can't take care of others if you can't take care of yourself. It's true. I'm losing my voice now a little bit. Let me take a drink. And I just took this out of the fridge, so it's all condensating all over me. Okay, that's better. Susan keeps losing your internet. Oh no. Anne says, I feel so lucky that my quirks and choices were supported as a child. I think that allowed me to grow up thinking I was just fine no matter what society told me at that point. Yeah, I was, that's great. And for the most part, most of the things I did, most of my quirks were pretty okay. Like, my parents never really said much about things. There was a phase I apparently talked like a baby. I remember that. I don't even know what, I'd never actually realized I was doing it. And they'd be like, stop talking like a baby. And I'm like, I didn't think I was. Like, so that's the one thing I can remember doing. But for the most part, I was very supported in most things that I wanted and what I wanted to do and what I did. It was mostly me that started telling myself that these things were wrong. And I think a lot of it happened, one, when I got vitiligo. That changed a lot for me. I think I was more harsh on myself than anyone else ever was. I would get stares and stuff because people didn't understand it back then. There was no internet back then to tell people, like, this is something that happens. I was just very splotchy. I used to tan a lot in the summer. I got pretty dark most of the time. I never burned. I was one of those people that went directly from like no tan to like full tan. I never burned. And so the first year it happened, I was pretty tan, and then I started getting white spots everywhere. It started on my back. And we thought, I had fallen off of my bicycle one year, and we thought that maybe it was scars from that, because I really bruised and scratched up my side pretty good when I did that, because I fell in gravel. And at first we thought it was that, and then they started just spreading everywhere. And so, I would get stared at and pointed at and laughed at in like grocery stores and Walmart and stuff like that. And so that was really hard. And so that really started triggering a lot of self-worth issues for me. And then being gay in an area where it was not safe. So I had to, play the not gay part as much as I possibly could. And that internalized homophobia for me, and I'm still dealing with some of that. Those are two things that really, really, stopped me looking at myself in a positive light. Because I used to be, I was not that kind of crazy hard on myself as a kid. Like, I barely thought about myself when I was like, I just did things I wanted to do and I had fun doing them. But it got to a point where I started doing things and wondering what other people would think of me doing them and how it would reflect on me doing them. And so, I'm glad, Anne, that you had that. I'm very happy for people who have that, because I've had friends who have had that, and at times I've been jealous of them, but that has been um, wrongly placed. I really seek out people who, I think now anyway, I seek out people who are like that, because people like that generally are who they are, and they are generally some of the most trustworthy and loyal and amazing people that I've known. And for other people who have had issues like me, it is a discovery process, and kind of, we learn a lot in discovering ourselves that way, I think. But there's always a kind of, I feel like there's a look back on things. And I was talking with one of my other friends about this. There's kind of that look back. Once you realize something doesn't have to be a certain way, there's kind of that look back and like, why did I spend so much time doing that? It's like kind of a low. And until you get past that and you're like, but I don't have to anymore. Like, let's move on. So yeah, I don't know. Kim says, yeah, the list is hard. I've tried that and made it so long and got so much anxiety that I failed to finish. Oh, all the time. And says, or don't go whole hog and take a day a week, but a day a month or some longer interval. It can even keep you going during the month to keep thinking about having a day off coming up. Yes, it's like my little one lottery ticket. Which I hope I played the lottery today. It's like my one little lottery ticket when the Powerball gets big. I can dream of winning, right? I can, it's like looking forward to that win. May the odds be ever in your favor, right? Kind of thing. And after, one day off doesn't sound like a lot to a lot of people, right? Most people get a weekend, but for me, one day off is something to really look forward to because we don't take that kind of time usually. Kim says, can you put a link to your Patreon? Right there. I can put it up on screen. I can't drop a link right now, but I can put it up on screen. Thank you for asking, by the way. If you'd like to support us there, you can do that. Diane says, you take the time for your pottery. Take a couple hours and go to the park or go to your bedroom and meditate. Turn the phones off. That's a hard one, right? Phones off is a hard one for me. Says also just an hour is good. Take a power nap. Yeah, I do take my pottery class. That is time I take for me. My teacher is pretty good at when she sees me on my phone asking me like, are you doing work, William? Because sometimes I'm in my pottery class and I'm on my phone doing work. And then that triggers me to like, yes, and I put my phone down. But yeah, that is one time I do take. I do feel guilty sometimes still doing that, but I still try to do that. Marion says, it's important to know your own worth. I think so. I think it is. I'm getting there. I don't value myself very much a lot of times. And in some ways I value myself a lot. Like the true me, like I said, the true me is pretty selfish and does value myself and does think I'm intelligent and does, but I mask a lot of that because I don't want to come off as selfish or pompous or, anything. Because for a long time, that was my wall. The wall that I had built was the extreme version of knowing my own worth, even though a lot of it was pretend. And it came off as very pompous, and it came off as, somebody a lot of people probably didn't want to get to know, and that was the purpose of it. And so when I started tearing all that down, I went completely the other way, and probably too far the other way. whereas I put everybody's needs above my own. I thought of myself last. I thought kind of in some ways, I was going to pay for the way I was. And now I'm trying to get that balance. Now that I've been working on this for a number of years, I'm trying to find that balance back to where is that? Where is that, the balance point, and where am I naturally supposed to fall? And it says it's really damaging to not be able to be your full authentic self and be accepted for that. I believe that 100%. I've put up so many walls and worn so many masks over the years. I kind of have lost track of who I am a little bit. Who knew you were going to get all this from me today, right? But I think it's interesting because I think there are other people out there that understand what I'm saying and have been through this journey and can either offer advice or can commiserate, or just understand, have empathy for it. Hopefully I help somebody. Maybe if you haven't gotten as far as me in some of this, hopefully something I say triggers something in you. But yeah, I have worn a lot of masks, and knowing who I am is a very hard thing for me to this day. And sometimes I'm afraid of who I might actually be because, like I said, I always tended a little bit more, I feel like, toward the selfish side of things. I always wanted a little bit more, I always craved more than I had. And I don't think that's a bad thing, though. As I look at things now, if you don't have want for things, you just stall out, right? So I think it's healthy. And I'm just learning that again, that it's healthy to want more than what you've got, because that is what will keep you going. If you want what you've got, that's great to be content. But if you don't want more, you will never continue your journey, right? You'll just stall out wherever you are in your journey. And for some people, that's fine. But I want to continue the journey. I want to learn more about myself. I want to learn more about other people. And I think wanting more continuously is part of that. And I think that's okay to want more. And, to want the things you want. Yeah, anyway. And Anne says, why do we do that to each other as a society? I have no idea. I talk about my internalized homophobia a little bit here and there. And, I used to shy away from people who were very flamboyant and very much themselves. And it was out of, this internalized stuff that I didn't, I was afraid to be associated like that. And as I get older, I'm like, but what? Those are the most interesting, happy people generally that I have ever known. They don't let things get them down so much. They don't, being who you are, they're often the most successful people in the end, whether that's in life, in job, in love, and they are very successful people. And that's what I'm trying to, come to terms with, that I can be whoever I am. And why is society, who am I to say what anyone else, who they should be or how they should be? And I'm trying to do it both ways. I'm trying to, come to terms with, I need to realize that these people are people I want to be around. These are people who are truly themselves are the best people. So why wouldn't I? No matter who they are, no matter how they dress, what they look like, what they choose to be, it doesn't matter. They are being who they are, and they are in touch with something greater than a lot of us are. And I think that's why we do it as a society, because we get fearful of people who are in touch with something greater than most of us are. And you try to hold them back. And I think that's part of it. But I think if everyone just let go and didn't have that fear, it would be so much better. Things would be so much better. Anna's said, did you finish driving? I got all the way to the end of your drive. I've been talking for a while. Says, love you for all parts of yourself. I can relate about self-worth and care. Yeah. Yeah. Susan says, my parents were also supportive of my quirks, but school and adult workplaces, not so much. Yeah. In some places, things were kind of um, pushed out of us or beaten out of us or, um, you know, not accepted. And a lot of times, you know, schools can do that because they're very regimented. They have to be to take care of a lot of different kids. Adult workplaces, same way. They work on a very tight schedule, tight ship. And there's not a lot of room for individuality a lot of times. But I think some of that is changing. And I think the youth of today are really helping to change that. Like, I hear a lot of people talking about young people today and how they don't want to work and they don't want to do this and they don't want to do that. That's the story that has happened since I can remember. When we were young, we were told we didn't want to work. When, generations before us, you don't want to work. Like, it's just a thing people say. But I really do believe that these generations coming up, like I look forward to more young people, meeting them and seeing them and getting to know them, because more and more of them are feeling freer and freer to be who they are. And it's bringing some of these waves of creativity through. Some of it's going to be misguided and some of it's not going to be on track and some of it's going to be messy. But for the most part, I think people are really trying to cut ties with that domineering, strict spirit that, we grew up with a little more. I was Gen X and the spirit was a little bit free and wild then. But, there was still that regimented kind of feeling to things. And workplaces are now starting to go more remote, or they're starting to be more, you can have more personal space in your workplace and you can be more who you are, I think. And that's because people are pushing for it and they're realizing the value of being an individual. There's value in the collective. And, for hundreds of thousands of years, we grew up hunter-gatherers. We grew up having to depend on community. And I think that is something that is still there and we are a little bit lacking sometimes. But also, the spirit of the individual should be acknowledged and should be honored within the collective. And I think that's what we're losing. We're losing track of each other a little bit as a collective, but also we're losing the appreciation for how each individual can contribute to the collective by being who they are. Boy, this is getting deep today. So it says, I've learned to be quiet in unsafe spaces since few people share my interests. I'd be accused of snobbishness, not trying to fit in. Yes, I have been accused of being snobby because a lot of my interests were not the same as my peers in a lot of times. And sometimes I pushed that and I made it that way. And then sometimes I didn't. And yeah, so I get it. I get it. Sometimes we don't want to fit in with certain people, and sometimes that should be okay, right? Okay, let's see here. Anna says, I've always worried about what others thought too much. I felt stigma was attached to me and others saw it and judged me. Yes, I've always worried about what others thought, and I've always put what I believed they were thinking about me into a negative sense. I'm always very pessimistic about how I think other people see me. Or not even pessimistic, but they see me as stupid or they see me as not doing something right. Like it's a lot. And as I realize, the more and more I think about things and the more I realize like everyone's creating this whole world. You have created your entire world in your head. You are everybody you think about, you are putting a personality on them, whether it's them or not. Whether it's how they really act or your version of how they really act. And everybody is doing that. Like everyone has this gigantic world in their heads. And we're all going around with that. And we're not really always seeing what's right there, or allowing ourselves to show what we are. And the more I see that, the more I see how cloudy things really are. Like, I could be the nicest person truly in the world, but if the person who sees me has a preconceived notion of me for some reason, I'm not going to change that. And nothing I do is going to change that, right? So why am I worried about what they think of me when I have very little control over how they think of me in a lot of ways? If there's some trauma in their past, oh, I almost knocked the phone over. If there's some trauma in their past, it's going to be very hard for me to change their view or their thinking about who I am. And so I'm trying to realize that more and more often, that we have these gigantic universes in our brains. We've created this whole thing in our brains, and everyone does it. Everyone has their own story. And, I will meet somebody that reminds me of somebody else, and automatically I get on the defense about it because I'm like, ooh, they're like that person. I can just tell. And really, is that fair? No. But are they going to have to prove to me in some way that they're not like that person? Kind of, right? Not that they have to prove anything to me, but it's going to take a while being with them to realize they may not be like that person. And so that happens with everybody. That happens, I'm sure, with me when I meet people. They see somebody else in me. And, I don't have much control over that other than being who I am. And I think the way to beat that, the way to get through to people the fastest, is to truly be who you are. Because if you are the most genuine version of yourself, then that automatically erases that comparison, right? Because if you are genuine to who you are, that means you're not like anybody else. For the most part, you're probably not like anybody else. And so that should immediately take down those walls and that preconceived notion. And, that's what I'm trying to do, get back to who I am so that I can worry less about what other people think of me, because I just know who I am, and that'll show through, hopefully, if that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm making any sense at all. Kim says, one thing I've always told my kids was I didn't care what color or what sex you're attracted to, as long as that was a good person I would be happy with. Yeah, like I said, I think it all boils down to love. If you are functioning out of love for yourself, love for other people, love for animals, love for plants, love for the planet, love for whatever, I think that's what should matter. That's what should matter. Marianne says, understandable, Susan. I don't usually discuss my beliefs with just anyone, right? Sometimes it's hard. Anna says, same, Kim. My daughter always knows I support her 1,000%. Yep. Anne says, Susan, I wasn't supported at school. My parents were so strong, so it mattered less. I was not social and did not want to attend a school party. My mom called and said I'd be late after the party. Nice. That's good. That's good. My mom, I have to say, was very supportive of most things like that. Sometimes she'd push me, I think, because she knew I'd probably enjoy something if I just did it. But for the most part, we were pretty free to make our own decisions about what we wanted to do. And she would be there to support us. Susan says, I was often in situations where I was forced to mask. That does untold damage to one's psyche. Yes, it really, really does. It really does, because you start to believe in the masks, right? They become a part of who you are. You wear it long enough or with enough people, it starts to become who you are. Or you're constantly switching. When you have to constantly put on this mask for this group of people and this mask for this group of people. And then what if those two groups of people come together? Then you got to figure out who you are when they come together. It's not, and just be who you are. And it's so much easier. And I'm trying to remember that. I'm trying to get into that. I think one of the reasons I don't like pink, Marianne says, is that idea that pink is for girls and blue is for boys. Yeah, it's one of the reasons I like pink. When I finally came out and when I was trying to be more okay with being gay, even though the internalization of the homophobia is still there a bit, and there's certain things, I started wearing a lot of pink because I'm like, yes, I can wear pink. I like it. I'm going to wear it. I don't care if you think it's for girls. And it was kind of a rebel move when I was doing it. And it's one of the reasons I enjoy pink. And so they're even down to colors. It's insane sometimes to think about it, but even down to the colors we like or don't like and how this kind of stuff has influence on them. Like, we're not free to just choose that we like something. I like pink. It's okay. I think it's a pretty color. Like, why is that so bad? Because somebody might call me gay or worse, shouting down the street. Well, I've been called that in whatever color I've been wearing. Like, it's not like it doesn't. I've been called a lot of things from cars driving down the street, no matter what. Even on the days when I thought I was the most straight acting I could be, things have still happened. So who knows, right? Susie says, people want to live. We weren't put here to work ourselves to death. No, we were not. I 100% believe we were not. The more of this manifestation stuff I listen to, the more I'm like, we were put here to explore and have a good time. We should really be helping each other have a good time. Because when we are having fun, when we are laughing with each other, when we are loving each other, that is like, who doesn't feel the best when that's going on? Who can rightfully say that when they're laughing with somebody or in love with somebody or, just having a good time with people, that you don't feel light, that you don't feel, ecstatic about life? Whenever we are enjoying our lives, when we are with the people we love the most, that is when life feels good. And so we were obviously put here. Well, put here, I don't know if we're put here, but we're obviously here to feel that more than not, because that is what gives us those good feelings. We wouldn't have those good feelings if we were meant to be in pain. If we were meant to be in pain, pain would give us a good feeling. It doesn't for me. I guess for some people it does. It doesn't for me. Guilt doesn't feel good to me. Anxiety doesn't feel good to me. So when I am myself, when I am having a good time with people, when I am laughing, when I'm sharing, things like this and really, finding myself in other people and finding them in me, that is when I enjoy life the most. And that just, I think, proves that that is what we're supposed to be doing. When we are slaving away for a business that, businesses are important. That's how we've decided in this civilization to make money, right? I am thankful that the business we do, I can have fun with it as well. I can create things. I can learn about stones. I can wear pretty things if I want to. But, in the grand scheme of things, everything we do for business, for the money, is because we've created a society that needs money. And, it's hard to say that there's any way around that. That's just where we are right now. But we are doing the thing because we have set it up this way. And the more you look at that, the more it's just like, it just makes everything kind of feel small sometimes. Like, what are we doing? What is this? What are we doing when we're supposed to be laughing and dancing and having fun and, loving each other? It's just, it's so strange to me. Kim says, I have several gay friends that I wish had opened up earlier, but society was mean. I can't imagine going through all the insecurities in society on top of that. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard sometimes, but everyone has their own path. And, I am here to talk about mine when people want to listen. Thank you all for listening. I know this is probably not what you expected on a Monday. It's a very heavy Monday, right? But, give me a day off and here's what happens. But yeah, I want everybody to find who they are. I truly want the best for people who I care about, and even people I don't care about, people I haven't met yet. I would rather people find who they are and me have a chance to get to know people and how they really are, and get a chance to, find more people that I really care about, than people be so confused and, toxic to themselves or others, and so like bound up in whatever. Anyway, yeah. Oh, my screen, it's already 9. Sorry, everybody. I'm talking a lot. I didn't mean to talk this long. We need to get on with the show, I think. I don't want to keep you all here too late. Kim says, sorry, I'm getting deep. So am I. So am I. Marion says, you have no control over what others think, right? You can influence it to a point, I believe. Like, I think you can influence it because there are people who are good at manipulation. And so I think to a point you can influence it, but for the most part, what they ultimately are going to think of you, you have very little control. Kim says, yes. I don't know what that is, but yes. Kimberly says, my boys wear pink. They asked me for pink shirts and socks. You know what? My nephew, he is not afraid. He wears all different kinds of pastel colors, and he's young yet, but, he is not what, I don't see other kids his age doing that, but he also looks up to, a lot of like big time baseball players, and like they were doing all these glitter ball necklaces and things. And so he started wearing them. He's not afraid to do that kind of thing. And, I think that's awesome. I don't know who he's going to be in the future. I don't know what's going, but at this point, he really strikes me as somebody who does what he wants to do. And I admire that in him. And I think it's great that he does that. Marion says, I choose colors that I like. Nice. Teresa says, my brother, after he came out, started wearing pink and coral. Yeah, it was a thing, like you felt like you couldn't do it before that because people would make fun of you. And once you're finally okay with that step, then sometimes it's easier. Sometimes it's not. Kimberly says, I've never told any of my kids a certain color is for a certain gender. I think that's important. I don't think it is. I don't think it's true. Colors are all around. And, society might put labels on colors, but colors don't put labels on colors, right? Susan says, some of the people I worked with didn't like me because I didn't share their religion views, politics, or speak about people who were gay or of another race. I kept quiet about my differing beliefs. Yeah, that can be a thing. Can definitely be a thing, right? There are a lot of things that we make up to try and divide ourselves up. And that's why I say, if people come at me with love and respect and, from a good place, even if I disagree with them generally, it's better than, just the outright hatred. Like, I don't know why we have to do that to one another. Teresa says, my daughter did the opposite when she came out and wore more blue, black, and green. Nice. Susan says, in other words, my quietness was a dead giveaway. Yeah. Marianne says, that's awesome, Kimberly, but there is societal aspect of color issues. Women's toolboxes and workbooks are marketed with pinkness. It's true. Like I said, there's a society thing about all that. But, the more people who are willing to override that, the more that changes, right? Pink used to be for boys, blue used to be for girls, and then it flip-flopped. And, so all that stuff can change. If a lot of men just start buying a lot of pink stuff, that starts to go away. That's all it takes. And like I said, I find these new generations coming up, I admire them a lot because many of them really are blowing this stuff up. And like I see my nephew, and he's wearing all the colors, whatever he wants to wear. He wants to wear glitter ball necklaces. He's wearing them. And the more people and he's respected for it, and other people have done it because he does it. So it's one of those things that I think the more that happens, we have a lot more say than we think. If men started buying a lot of pink stuff, there would be a lot of more manufacturers making pink work boots, as Marianne says, or toolboxes for men too. We just have to decide that we're okay with that, and if we really like the color pink, we're going to go for it, right? There shouldn't be anything. It's so weird. Mary says you had time to think. I know, I had time to think today, and look what happens. Susan says, Marianne, I think, oh wait, Marianne, there is the pink tax issue too. Pink products marketed towards women generally cost more, even though they are the same. Says, that's true, Susan. It is true. Kimberly says, my boys even asked me to make them jewelry. Yeah, my nephew, he comes into the store every once in a while with my mom, and he makes jewelry for himself, makes it for his mom, makes it for sometimes his friends. He wants to have maybe a birthday party of his friends come over, and they're going to make necklaces and things. Like, it's so nice to see younger people who are more accepting of all of this. And, we still, as older generations, I think we still have to keep telling them that it's okay. We have to keep pushing. We can't stop. We can't just let them take it and run, because, they, in a lot of ways, they still look up to us. I think so. And we still have to be pushing it forward. So we can't let up. And that's why I keep trying to do the things I do. And when he comes in to make necklaces, I try and, let him know that's great that you're doing this, and you should bring your friends in, and they're all welcome here, and, that kind of thing. Teresa says, I think children should wear what they want. I had one daughter who wears dresses and one who wears men's clothes. Yeah, I think kids should wear what they want too. I think anybody should wear what they want, to be honest. I don't think it's just kids. I think if you feel comfortable in something, you should wear it. And I don't see that as a problem. Men in dresses, men in skirts, women in pants, women in suits. Like, I think it's all why is it? I used to wear skirts when I was in college. I never wore short ones. They were always long, ankle length generally, because I didn't like my legs back then. And I don't like the look of a short skirt for me. Just never appealed to me. But long ones, yes, they were comfortable. They were dang comfortable. And so, like, they were more comfortable to me than shorts. Because I often got cold when I would wear shorts, but a skirt was airy and still had coverage. And yeah, I was very comfortable in them. And then I got to a point, it was when I left college, pretty much, I stopped doing it because, getting a job and doing that, it would have been probably much harder. Although the jobs I worked in probably would have accepted it. But I was always worried that I wouldn't, have a job or have work if I did that. And then I got totally out of it. And it probably would feel weird now, but it probably would still feel good as far as comfort goes, because long skirts, comfortable. I will say that. And it was funny because we were down in Memphis when we did that metal pouring. And once everything was done for the one night, people were starting to gather and kind of hang out and have some drinks together. And about 3 different guys, I have no idea what they felt their gender was. I didn't know them well enough, but about 3 different guys came out in long skirts and just were hanging out together, drinking beer. And I thought it was the most wonderful thing I'd ever seen. Like, these were burly, big guys who worked in iron and, metal pouring, and they're out there in skirts, hanging out, drinking together. And I just thought it was awesome. Like, and they were younger people, younger than me. And so I see this and I see it starting to happen, and nobody questioned them. Nobody laughed at them. Nobody, that was just okay. And I loved that. And that is one of the things, like, when I go around with Andrew to these events and things, And this whole idea of being more inclusive in blacksmithing and metalsmithing, it's really a beautiful thing because you're starting to see a lot of this kind of thing happen more often. And I love it. I love it so much. It always gives me more hope that things are changing, and hope that I can also change into more of who I am. Not that I need to change, but be more of who I am too. Let's see. Let's see. Alex Zemes says, color is for everyone. I believe that. Kimberly says, I like pink, and yes, I do buy pink tools and toolboxes because it's available, and my favorite color is pink, right? Hey, why not, right? Alex Zemes says, I had enough of my brief YouTube boycott, so I'm back to watch. Okay, nice. Nice. Also says, one somewhat controversial opinion I have is that in the future, we will view caffeine the way we view cigarettes today. I am kind of the opposite of that. I believe we will view nicotine the same way we view caffeine. I have a feeling, and it's already starting to happen, where people are just buying like nicotine pouches and things like that, because they talk about how addictive nicotine is, but in some cases that I've seen, they can't actually get mice to be addicted to nicotine itself. It's the other things in the cigarettes. And nicotine is a stimulant and a focusing agent. So I used to smoke, and when I used to smoke, I smoked because the feeling it gave me was a calming and a focusing. And so I always felt like it calmed me down and helped me focus on what I need to focus on. And so I think nicotine is going to be something that is going to be opened up more in safer amounts and safer, ways to take it. That it's going to be more and more like caffeine. But it's possible it could go the other way. 100% possible. Kimberly says, I love a maxi skirt, right? Maxis are great, says Susan. Mary says, I need a little caffeine, Alex, right? Kimberly says, I sincerely hope it never happens. I have to have my caffeine. Says, what I meant is that sometimes caffeine can enable a harmful lifestyle. Oops. My comments keep jumping. Like, bosses will push their workers harder because they can just drink caffeine and feel energized again. Yes, that is true too. That is very true. Susie says that is the way the world needs to be. Just loving, right? I think caffeine overall does less harm than smoking, but we should still work to reduce it. Yeah, I don't take caffeine. I don't drink caffeine at all. I gave up caffeine because it made my anxiety crazy. So I've given up caffeine, and I know, I'm not as energetic as I used to be, but I think it's healthier for me. Marion says, you do have a point, Alex. It's true. Alex says, that's definitely a unique point of view. Me personally, I've seen no more harm. It's come about from more accessible options of caffeine or nicotine. Nicotine is in some ADHD meds, says Kimberly. I believe that makes sense. That makes sense because I do think I have ADHD, and cigarettes used to help that. And that was one of the reasons I actually smoked. I did not enjoy the process. I didn't enjoy the smoke. I didn't enjoy, social aspect was okay, but it was more that it would settle me and focus me. And I think that's why. It's a joke now that students shouldn't go to the bathroom because bathrooms are actually vape rooms. I believe that too. Kimberly says, I drink coffee, Pepsi Zero, and tea. I'll never drink those energy drinks. I used to be a big energy drink drinker. A lot of Red Bulls in my life. Generally just Red Bull. But now, none of that. I don't even take B vitamins that often. I take enough that I keep some B vitamins in me because they're good for you. You need them, but they do energize you, and even that can make me like, ah. Hey, there's my mom. Says nicotine is a naturally occurring substance in several vegetables. Which ones? Which ones do I need to take to help my focus? Yeah. Yeah. Anna says, I've always thought that naturally derived caffeine and nicotine are less addictive and harmful than man-made. Yes. Caffeine can also have that calming effect for some with ADHD. Yes. And I used to drink a lot of caffeine, and I always said caffeine never kept me up or gave me much of a buzz. It just helped me focus until it gave me worse, until my anxiety kicked up, and then I had to really cut back. But I think caffeine and nicotine both have that effect on me. But the caffeine definitely spikes my anxiety, and I can't do that anymore. Marianne doesn't drink the energy drinks either. Once hiked via Ferretta on Mount Norquay, and the people with us were vaping on a mountain in pristine nature. Well, depending on what they were vaping, maybe they wanted to be more in touch with nature. Sometimes I could understand that, depending on what exactly they were vaping. Susan says, the energy drinks are a bit scary. I do enjoy my 1.5 cups of coffee in the morning, sometimes a cup of Earl Grey in the evening, especially when the Hubs makes it. That's nice. That's good, right? My daughter used to drink Monster drinks, says Teresa. I've had a few of the Monster brand. I didn't really care for them. I didn't really like any of them. They're not really that great tasting, but they get you through a bead show sometimes. That's what they used to mainly be. Tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, and pepper. Well, that might be why I like tomatoes, potatoes, and peppers so much. I gotta have them to keep calm. Eggplant, I'm starting to like more. Andrew made it the one night. It was really good. Yeah, so all right, I gotta get started with the live, or else we're gonna be here all night. I have loved this conversation, though. I'm glad you all have obviously seemed to like it too. Thank you for hanging out with me and for putting up with my talking about all of this stuff that people are like, I came to see beads. If you came here just to see beads, you're in the wrong place, because this is what we do. We hang out with each other and we chit chat. We talk about life and what it means to us some days. We get very deep some days, right? And I like that about this group. And that's why I have fun. And that's why I enjoy being with you all, because we can do these in a safe space where we know that, you know, people aren't making fun of each other. People aren't talking nasty about each other. We are just discussing opinions and how things work to us, and we're all respectful of it. And that's why, you know, the AG Bead Fam is awesome. Awesome, I think. Anna's saying nightshade plants. Tomatoes are related to nightshade, I seem to remember. Yeah, I believe they are. Marianne confirms they are related. Yeah, nightshades, tomatoes, peppers. Said, I love doing the Via Ferrata, but I wouldn't advise it if you're afraid of heights or don't have experience climbing in a harness. I have never climbed in a harness in my life, and heights, I can do okay, but I've not been around a lot of heights like that enough that I think I want to go mountain climbing or anything like that. Susan says, Earl Grey is lovely. I have British and Irish ancestry. Maybe that's why. Earl Grey is one of my favorite teas. I love the taste of it. I get it decaf. I do have decaf Earl Grey in the cabinet right now. I love Earl Grey. My mom says, yes, most nightshades have some nicotine. Huh. That's interesting. I didn't know that. That makes a lot of sense, though. Because I do crave a lot of those kind of vegetables, potatoes, peppers. I crave them a lot. And when I'm really anxious, those are the things that like feel like they're, I always thought it's because it was like this warm feeling, like lots of potatoes and heavy, but it might be because I'm anxious and the nicotine helps. I don't know if it can help in the doses you get from those things, but that might be part of it for me. Susan said, this group is refreshing. We discuss both fun and important topics. I think so too. I think so too. Marion says, I actually like double bergamot Earl Grey. I've never had that, but I bet I would like it. I used to, my one boss used to import Fortnum and Mason for his restaurant, and he would do a breakfast blend, an Earl Grey, and something else. And I loved that Earl Grey. I loved it. But I love Earl Grey anyway. Annis's nightshade plants are comfort foods, right? They honestly are. And that's now I know because they have nicotine apparently, and that helps me, that comforts me. Yeah. Anyway, let's get started, y'all. Okay, we can keep the conversation going. You don't have to stop. But we're gonna start, and I'm going to do. Let me make sure I haven't used this LGS lots. No, I've not used LGS. Loose gemstones. That's how we're going to do this. LGS1. Now remember, this is how you purchase from us if you've forgotten. I'm going to take the Patreon down. Hopefully if you want to join that, you will go over and join that. That helps us out so much if you join our Patreon. And I think you can start at like $1 or $3, something like that. Andrew has it set real low, so if you want to support us in that way, you can. And let me put the other one up here. Let's take this one away so we have some room on the screen. If you want to purchase something tonight, take down the lot number LGS1 through, we'll go at least through 30 tonight. Send that to us in an email and just put it in the subject line of an email and hit send. That's all you got to do. Send that email to info@allegorygallery.com. All right. Any questions before we get started? Marianne's going to say good night now. Okay, good night, Marianne. I know you don't want to be tempted, so thank you for hanging out with us. It's good to see you, Marianne. I like to see you once in a while. All right. LGS1, what do I got here? Come on, get out here. These are Mexican fire opal beads, and we were doing them for $3 each. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm going to do them. I'm going to still do these individually. I'm not going to make a lot out of these, but $2 each, and there are 12 of them available if you'd like any of these. LGS1, these are Mexican fire opal rondelles. They are various sizes. It came from a graduated strand, so we will pick you out random sizes, but they're really, really pretty stones. And this is all we've got left. This was such a beautiful strand, but it was a super expensive strand. Obviously, if the beads are like $3 each, it was an expensive strand, but we decided to take it apart and sell it individually. So these are individual stones, $2 a piece, 12 of them available. Sandra says, I finished my custom ruby necklace and the customer loves it. Yay, that's awesome. It won't ship till he gets back from vacation. I have a possible second custom order for a chain. That's awesome. Congratulations. I love hearing that news. I like hearing when you all do well. It's important to us. Okay, LGS. Boy, my cats are working hard to get in the door. They're working hard to get in that door. Okay, this is amethyst It is a beautiful amethyst faceted stone. And we had this at $6. These were $6 each. I'm going to price this one at $4. One left only, LGS2. Hey, stop that. I hear you tearing up the carpet. Those cats. They're tearing up the carpet right outside. I can hear them tearing it up. Okay. LGS3. Okay, we've sold LGS2. Thank you so much. That has sold multiple times. Sorry, I've only got one, everybody. I might have more like it coming up. We'll see what's in this box of ours. Let's see. These are quartz. And they have a little bit of something running through them on almost each one. And we had these at $3. I'm going to take them to $2 each. I should just make those into a lot, but maybe y'all want a loose gemstone night. So maybe we'll just, if you want to buy them all, right? But that's a really good price. 2, 4, 6, 8, $8 for all of those. You get pretty much, you're getting 4 pendants for the price of one. I feel like these could each be $8. They're really pretty quartz pendants. LGS3. I'm going to put 2 back because that one has sold. And we've sold some of one. We still have about, I think we sold 2 of number 1, so we still have 10 of those left. Let's see here. Anne says, I've given up my carpet to the cat. Oh, I know. Most of our carpets by our doors are like shredded away at the door seal because they keep trying to open the door that way or get in. Susan says, oh, someone is in trouble. I know, they're getting bad. Sandra says, thanks. I worked really hard on this. We went through several designs. Nice. Susan says, and same here. Smokey can be really bad about that. Yeah, ours are definitely bad. Sandra says, thanks, William. I love hearing about other people's wins too. I know. It's so much better when, especially our friends, like, sometimes we get jealous of people we don't know, and sometimes we get jealous of our friends, I think, but I'm very much learning that, what goes around comes around. And if you are happy for people who do better, you will continuously do better as well. And I think that's real. That's a real thing. All right. These are a dyed agate. They're slightly twisted. And these were $5 each. And I'm going to take them down to $3 each because I've only got 3 of them left. $3 each. Really pretty agate, slightly twisted ovals. I should be giving you the sizes on these, huh? They're big, right? No. These sizes, this is about 25 by 39. And this one is about 26.5 by 51. Alex says, my poodle has figured out how to push open doors that don't close all the way, and he steals pillows. That's funny. Terry says, my cats have learned how to push down on the door handle and come on in. Ours are twisty handles. And so Gertie, I think I put this in a Facebook post. She somehow, or I talked about it on the live, she somehow jumps at the door handle and does something, but it makes this huge loud noise every time she does it. I don't know what she's doing, but I've never seen her actually do it from outside. But yeah, she tries to open. I think she's trying to open and figure out how the door handle works. Anna says, I'm all about lifting others up, especially when they are good about doing the same. Exactly. Alex says, my favorite is when he steals a pillow from my brother and brings it to my room to show off his thievery skills. That's funny. Kimberly says, don't forget to hit like. Yes, please hit the like, hit the love. Thank you, Kimberly. And don't forget to grab things if you see something you like, because that's what helps us get gas money and get Andrew back home. I've barely heard from Andrew. His internet service is not great up there, which you would think New Jersey would be fine, but he barely has any service. So I have not heard from him very much. And so I've seen about what you all see as far as what he's doing. So I can't really report on much about what he's doing, unfortunately. Now this came from a pretty expensive strand. These are blue apatite. These blue apatite ovals, and these were $5 each, but I'm going to do them. Let's see how many. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to do them for $3 each. $3 each, 7 of them available. Remember, the price on these is price per each stone. And these are beautiful. Look at that blue apatite, that neon apatite. Super pretty. $3 a stone only. These are 15 millimeters by about 19.5. And there are 7 of these available. LGS. That's an LGS. LGS 5. And I also, let me do something here real quick. I want to check. Let's get rid of this. Oops, not that one, not that one, not that one. This one, this one, this one. Okay. And let me check my junk mail just to make sure nobody's going to junk right now. Looks like we're all good for the moment. All right. I just sold 4 of the number 5s. So there's 3 of these left. My dogs will want to come into the bathroom right up until you're in the middle of your business. Then they want out. This leads to an awkward shuffling and attempt to soothe very upset pups. That happens to the cat sometimes too. That awkward pants around your ankle shuffle to get to the door to let them back out. Yes. Susan says, mine does the same. They hate closed bathroom doors and are saving us from the water monster, right? It's true. It's true. Sanders says, totally agree, Anna, about lifting others up. LOL, Alex says, Anna, that's a problem, right? I don't know if you have pets, if you've not done the bathroom shuffle. I don't know what you're doing with your life, because I don't know how you stay away from that. All right, this I think this is going to be a good price on this. This is a turquoise pendant. Beautiful turquoise pendant. And it was 37.5, or is 37.5 by 50 millimeters. I'm going to do 24 on that. I think that's a good price. Probably could go higher on that because it's a really nice piece. But I'm going to try and give you good prices tonight on things. So LGS 6, only 1 of those available if somebody's interested. Sweet Pea, says Sandra, just meows at the bathroom door when it is closed and no one is in there. Please open it for me. Yeah, we keep most of our doors open so that we don't have that issue. But yeah, sometimes that still happens. Daniel Tiger thinks my being in the bathroom is a perfect time for pets. She's in one place I can present myself for pets every time. Yeah, that's kind of Barnaby. He's that way too. He's the bathroom buddy time. He helps you, do your business. We just sold the last 3 of LGS 5. Thank you so much. Here is some just blank Charwhite. Charwhite. I think I've got Charwhite. That's right? LGS 7. And I will do these at $2.50 each. I have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. 14 of those, $2.50 each. Alex says, random crystals I'm hoping to see. Selenite, I can tell you I probably don't have any selenite. I might have a selenite wand in here, but I don't have random things. Garnet, I have garnet beads in here. Citrine, I probably have citrine, and smoky quartz, I definitely would have smoky quartz. All right, let's see. Let me take away LGS 5 because those have all sold out. Thank you so much, everybody. Let's see here. We've just sold 6 of the 14 of these. So there are 8 of them still available. Thank you so much. Let me give you the size on these two. These are about 15.2. Alex says, I'm a fan of crystals, not in a spiritual way, but in a ooh, shiny rock way. This is what can I say? I was raised by a geologist. Yeah, I like them in both ways. I will use them if they've got the energy I need, and I just like pretty rocks. We've sold 2 more of the ones, so we are down to 8 of the ones available. Sold none of the 3s. Nobody wants any of the 3s, and sold none of the 4s. Didn't sell the big turquoise yet either, LG6. Surprised on that. I thought somebody would jump at that right away. Let's see here. All right. This is like a pineapple quartz. It's like a real version, not the fake version of it. Let's see. LGS 8. And these were $3 each. I'm going to bring them down to $2 each. And there's 5 of them available. These are pineapple quartz. Let's see. Mischief sometimes sleeps in the sink, says Norma. That's cute. Waldo races me to the bathroom and jumps up on the toilet before I get there. Yes, that happens to me sometimes too. These are about 25 by 30. Really pretty. I like this color. Kind of a nice neutral. Alex says, I dream up novel ideas quite frequently, and one has a magic system based on crystals, so my goal is to collect most of them and make charms out of the stones. Nice. So now I'm interested in Charwhite. Good. There you go. There's Charwhite. Charwhite's nice. I like Charwhite. We've sold half of the Charwhite, so we've got 7 of them available. Oh, Kim says, storms rolling through here. Oh boy. We had some storms over the weekend. I didn't even talk. All that talking I did, I didn't even talk about my weekend at this shop. How about that? It was a good weekend at the shop. I had a friend stop by and we made some stuff the one day and I got some stuff done. I added stuff to the online store during the sale again. What companies add stuff to their online store when they're having a sale? We do. So the sale is going on. If you missed that news, the discount code is thank you to save 20% off everything in the online store. So you can go to allegorygallery.com right now. And if you have the discount code to plug in, just put in thank you and you can save. You can save. That sale is still running. And we had fun doing a live from the store too. I did lots of pretty gemstones, which a lot of you seem to like, so that was nice. It was a good weekend at the shop. All right. This is some dyed howlite carved tubes. They were $2 each. I'll bring them down to $1.50 each. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of these available. And I'm not going to write each on all these, but just so y'all know, this is each per stone. This is how we're doing it. Do a loose gemstone night. I was going to group these and make groups out of them, but let's just do a loose gemstone night. You get it per stone. These are the carved dyed howlite tubes. They're all hand carved. They're all different sizes. And there are 8 different ones here. Really cool, I think. Pretty. $1.50 each. I'm going to put these away. $2 only for those. Those are really nice. Nobody wants any of those? Nobody like the quartz? I know some of y'all like the quartz. Kim's losing the feed. Oh no! Don't lose us, Kim. We don't want to lose you. I get storms though, especially if you have satellite internet. We used to have satellite internet when we were at the apartment, and you got a big storm, you didn't have internet. Let's see, we just sold half of these. Thank you so much. We've got 4 of them still available. Alex says, here's another pet shenanigan then. We have a small garden on our porch, and our dogs have decided that the best toys in the world are not the fancy ones we bought them, but instead are bell peppers. Oh boy. All right, we've sold the last of 9, so 9 is now gone as well. Thank you so much. I like these loose gemstone nights because it gives everybody a chance. It gives us a chance to clear out some of our stock that we don't have full strands on, and it gives everybody a chance to get a little bit of something at a low price. Don't have to spend a lot to get a nice assortment on nights like this. It is a lot of work on my spreadsheet, I will tell you that. My spreadsheet gets very long, and the picking and packing of these are very intense, but it's worth it because I like these nights. All right, this is a charoite pendant. Look at that. Look how well that would go with some of these, right? I'm gonna make that pendant $8. One of them available. One of them available. Let's see here. Okay, we've sold the last of the charoites, so those are now gone. Thank you so much. Whoa, dropping my bags. Kim says back for now. Nice. That is now gone. Thank you, thank you. I think that's a good price, right? $8 a good price for that? I think so. Somebody else thinks so too because it just sold. So thank you so much. That was probably too good of a price. Sandra says, I said I wouldn't buy anything. I failed again. Well, you're going to use it. We know that. We know that. Oh, no. I just messed up. Because this was supposed to be 10. LGS 10. LGS 10. I already did 9. Sorry about that. I think the person who wanted 9 wanted this and not the tubes. So if you would send me another email, that would be nice. So I remember. Sorry about that. LGS 10 is the Charwhite pendant, not 9. I don't want to call anybody out. Oh, let's see here. Teresa says, we had a big storm here the other night. Lightning hit both the Empire State Building and the Freedom Tower. Oh, boy. Student says, wow, Teresa, that's unusual for your area. Says, yes, it is. And says, Sandra, instead of a failed bead diet, you are a successful bead bargain hunter. That's right. That's the way to look at it. Okay, thank you for sending that email again. I have updated that. How come nobody wants this? Is the price too high? Do I need to, how about this? What if I bring it down to 22? How about that? 22. One last chance before I put it away. Turquoise pendant. These were $3 each. I'm going to bring them down to $2 each. And let me see how many of these I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 of these. Kim says, love it, but too big for me. And says, the turquoise is beautiful, but it's big and I suspect heavy. My neck is getting weak in its old age. It's not too heavy. It's pretty thin. I don't know. It is, I mean, yes, of course, it's a heavier pendant, but that at least gives me, I was like, did I overprice it? Like, I didn't think I did. I thought I underpriced it, but okay. These are eagle eye beads. They have a chatoyance to them if it catches the light. Not all of these are going to have it, obviously. Some of them will have more of a chatoyance, like you see in tiger eye, but they call this eagle eye because it's, I don't know, is it an eagle eyes gray? I don't know why they call it that, but these are nice little kind of oval or marquee cut. 15.5 millimeters by 24 approximately. Got 13 of them available. $2 each. $2 each only. Kim says, it's never about the price, more about the budget. That's true too sometimes, right? That's true too. LGS 12. Ooh-wee. Okay. These, they were 10. I can come down to 8 for you on those. We just sold 1, 2, 3, 4 of the LGS 11 so far. We have 9 of them still available. These are really nice. Big old hunks of citrine. Big old hunks of citrine. So there are 3 of them available. You'll get one of these 3. They're super nice and clear with that hint of yellow, so you know they're a citrine. And they're all going to have, like, they're rough cut. So you're going to see some, like this one, it looks like it's cracked at the top, but that's just kind of the way it is. It's pretty smooth. There's one that has a little, like I saw a little nick out of, looks like the edges of one of these. It's just the way they are. They're kind of a rough cut stone. But they're all drilled top to bottom the way they're presented here. $8 a stone. They're really nice examples. They've got some internal cracks and stuff, obviously, but look at the clarity in some of those. Well, in all of them. They all have nice clear spots in them. Super nice. 3 of them available, LGS 12. So pretty, says Kim. Aren't they pretty? They are super pretty, I think. Oh, just so you can see. All right, so remember the other day, Andrew, we pulled out these from Andrew's case, and I think he charged you all $1 a bead, and I said I thought they were $3 a bead. They were actually $4 a bead. So if you got them from the case the other day, you got an excellent, excellent, excellent deal. Just to show you. I just wanted to show you. Okay, these are pre-night, and I am going to sell these as the pair because there's 2 left, and I think they should go together. They were $4 each. I'm going to do them for the pair for $7 for the pair. A little bit of a discount, but they're super pretty. We had a bunch of these, and we're down to just these 2. Pre-night, this kind of faceted diamond shape. And these are approximately 12 by 23.5 millimeters. I love these so much. We sold 1 of the citrines so far. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I'm going to take the turquoise away. Since nobody wants it, I got to make room. Going once, going twice at that $22 only. Kim says, I bought those before, made a pair of earrings, love them. Yeah, they're so nice and light and such a pretty stone. I love how it's cut. I'm going to also put the pineapple quartz away. Nobody wants the pineapple quartz. LGS 8. Okay, leave the eagle eye. Some people are buying that. Oh, some kitten's back again. Back again to make some noise. Dig up some carpet. I gotta do the cats at them. We just sold 13. Thank you so much. Those I can put away. Who's out there? Huh? Who's out there? All right, these are super duper pretty. These are quartz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of these available. And I'm going to do the low price of $2 each. That's a really good price for as nice as these are. Faceted quartz rondelles. They're about 16 millimeters. You're getting those for $2 a piece. What? Pair of earrings is only $4 plus your ear wires you need. That's it. Oh, I did it again. Hold on. This is 14, everybody. LGS 14, not 13. LGS 14 for everybody. LGS 14. Keep putting them away and then forgetting I put them away. You can obviously tell I'm not in the working mode after my day off today. We just sold 4 of these. We're down to 8 of them left. Thank you so much. I like these loose gemstone days. Like I said, it's a pain in the behind to do the spreadsheet and the sorting of them all, but I really have fun doing these. All right, this is a chalcedony. It was called Lemon Multitone Chalcedony. And we had these at $4 each. I'm going to bring them down to, let's do $2.50. I can't quite go half price, but $2.50. I've only got 4 of them left. LGS 15. Look how pretty these are. Really pretty lemon multitone. I love that name. Lemon multitone chalcedony. And 4 of them available, $2.50 each. Okay, LGS 16. These are so fun. These were $6 each. I'll bring them down to $5 for tonight. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, only 5 of them left. These are pyrite, corner drilled rounded squares. So these are big chunks of pyrite. For those of you who like different kinds of shapes and sizes of pyrite, these are super cool. Like, you can see those, like, these spots have clarity in them. Like, they're not solid. Like, I don't know what it is in the pyrite, whether it's a kind of quartz mixed in there or what, but they have depth to them, which is, I think, super fantastic. It's so cool. These were from a vintage strand. I've never seen pyrite this big and in this shape since. And so we used to sell it by this, I think we had it by the strand. We had 1 or 2 strands, and then we started breaking the strands apart because they were more expensive. And so now we sell these by the piece. And they are corner drilled, and they are about 42 or 41.5 to 42 millimeters. And there are 5 of those available, $5 each. We've just sold 2 of those. Thank you so much. LGS 17. I have 1 of these available. Let me put the eagle eye away. Eagle eye's going away. It's LGS 11. We still have some of these available, and they are only $2 a stone. Really pretty. Love those. It's a good gray. When you're looking for a gray, it's not always easy to find a nice gray stone. So eagle eye is a really pretty stone for that. Let's move these down. We still have some of the 12s left. Still have some of the 14s left. We have all of the 15s left. Nobody wants the Chalcedony tonight. We still have 3 of the pyrite. And what was my next one? What am I doing here? This one. This is a beautiful amethyst. Was $6 each, now 4. I've only got the 1 left. And this one is about 20.3 by 28.9, 29. I kind of like how this one is done because it's a little bit wider here than here, so it like kind of has a angular look to it. And that's LGS 17. All right, these were $2 each. I'm going to bring them down to $1 each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of these available. These are lava beads. Little lava coins. They are about 19.5 millimeters. LGS 18, only $1 each. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, 8 of them available. Let me go ahead and move the citrine off of here. Large and in charge citrine. LGS 12. Still have some of these available. $8 each only. Big nice rocks. Big nuggets. And let's move these down. LGS 19. Susan says, be right back, moving upstairs. All right, Susan. While you're doing that, I'm going to take a drink. Up, we sold 17. Thank you so much. Let me put that away. Appreciate your support, everybody. Remember, we're having a 20% off sale in the online store. So if you would like to get anything, just use discount code THANKYOU. I think these, what are these? I think these are glass. I'm not going to do those because I'm not 100% sure. Because if they're not glass, they're like a toe pad. Those are, I don't know what the price those. You know, Alex said they wanted smoky quartz. This is actually rutilated quartz. It looks a little smoky. Maybe it's just because it's in the bag. Oh, somebody tried to grab 17 again. Sorry, it has already sold. Okay, so these are rutilated quartz. And we had these at $5 each. I'm going to bring them down to $4. I can't go lower than that because really they should probably be higher than that. Rutilated quartz, you see the rutiles in there. Those little, what they sometimes call that angel hair. And these are really nice examples of rutilated quartz. Lots of rutiles in each one. And there are 6 of them available, only $4 each. Okay, let me see who's clawing at the door. I know the worst thing to do right now is probably let them in, but I'm afraid I'm going to have no carpet left. so I don't allow them to visit. So let's see who's trying to visit me. Oh my goodness. What are you doing, Idabelle? Oh, you're so bad. You are so bad. Yeah, you. You're so bad. You are. You tore up all the carpet. What are you doing? Huh? I'm okay. You don't have to save me. I'm okay. Oh, okay. Everybody wants to see you. Everybody wants to see you. I don't know how I can show you. Here, let's flip the camera this way, and then we'll show you. Everybody wants to see Idabelle. There she is. You want to say hi to everybody? You little naughty thing. I know you were concerned about me, weren't you? You were so concerned about me. I love you. But you didn't have to be so concerned that you ripped the carpet apart. No, that's not necessary. No, it's not. No, it's not. Okay, you can sit in here with me a little bit. Okay, let's see. We just sold all of 19. Thank you so much. Let me take those away. You just hear me talking. You don't know who I'm talking to, do you? I'm talking to our friends, Idabelle. Yeah. Someday we'll be able to afford replacing our carpets or hardwood floor with hardwood floor or with some kind of something. That'll be a nice day when that happens because they are torn apart. All right. Let's see. Next up, LGS 20. These we had at, what was it? Let me look. Okay, the normal price we had these was $6 each. I'm going to bring them down to $4 each, and we have 4 of them available. Kim says, oh boy, kitty distraction. I know. Anna says, hey sweetie, Raven, Ellie, and Lulu say meow. Teresa says, hi, Idabelle. Susie says, Idabelle, so precious. She is. She's a good girl, but she is, she just needs a little daddy love, says Aunt. I know. She has been, since Andrew's been away, she's been clinging to me. She's been very protective and clingy of me. Like, she's right under my feet all the time in the kitchen. And she doesn't want to be separated. And says, yes, my carpet is mangy too. I'd like to replace it with vinyl plank that looks like wood. Economical and better for cat messes. Yeah, that's what we want to do too. But, you know, it's the way it is. These are labradorite. Some of these have better flash that you can see depending on how they hit the light. I can get them to hit the light just right. They all do have nice flash to them. What, honey? You're not talking as much. Huh. Yeah. She's my big talker. She talks a lot. Don't you, baby? You're a good girl. You're a good girl. You're just a little naughty sometimes. Just a little naughty sometimes. But overall, you're a very good girl. It says if you'd let me in, I wouldn't have to be naughty. So it's your fault anyway, Daddy. It's your fault anyway, huh? Yeah, it is. It's my fault for not letting you in, isn't it? We could have avoided all of that mess if I just let you in, huh? Yeah, I know. I know how you think. I know how you think. All right, I'm going to put 14 away. That's this quartz. Yeah? Anna says she's content now. I know, she's in here. She's not supposed to be in here. Huh. But you are in here hanging out now. I'm going to put 15 away since nobody seems attracted to the chalcedony tonight, which is strange. Teresa says we did bamboo flooring throughout our house for the cats. That's nice too. Bamboo is supposed to be like a softer flooring, right? Too, just like easier on standing and all that too, I thought. Is that the one? Do I have that right? Somebody wants to... Yeah? Do I? What? Sue says we need to do the same because of our cat. I know. It's like, can we just all change our flooring to match our cat situations? Huh. Yeah. All right. No takers on the labradorite? I would have thought those would have gone right away. Look how pretty they are. No takers. You know, out of the labradorite kick, you've got enough labradorite in your stashes. Sandra says, but I have carpet in the bedrooms. Yeah, that's... I don't mind carpet. That's the thing, is I kind of shy away from hardwood. Trace says, yes, it is softer, better for standing. That's what I thought. These we had at $2.50. I can bring them down to $2, but I don't think I can go lower because these are really nice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hello, baby. I've got 8 of these available. Sandra says, I do have a bunch of labradorite. These are green garnet. Tiny green garnet drops. They're really pretty. Really pretty green garnet drops. Whoa. Hello, baby. She is just purring and meowing at my feet. She just laid down. So beautiful, clear, like translucent green garnet drops. Really nice quality drops. They are $2 each right now, and there are 8 of them available. Yeah. Go ahead, lay down. I liked it when you were just laying there. I don't have to keep too much of an eye on you. Oh, here. Now I can't remember. Let me see if I can find them. What are you doing? No, you cannot go up there. No. No. Oh, what are you doing, little girl? Okay. Anna says, oh, I bought those green garnet last time. They are beautiful. We just sold all of the green garnet. Thank you so much. And Anna, you were asking about this the other day, about these. If I had any of the matching moonstone. And I just found these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 of them. I had 12 of the other color, and I did them for $10 instead of 20. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to make this into a batch. And there's only one batch of these available. And these are the peach moonstone version of the blue moonstone we had in the other show that somebody grabbed up. What are you thieving? What are you thieving? Ida Bell. That's not for chewing on. No, it's not. Oh. if you're gonna be bad, you're gonna have to go out. You cannot. Yeah, you cannot be bad. What are you chewing on? You cannot have that strand of beads. That's mine. That is mine. That is not yours. Oh, sorry, everybody. Cat hijinks. Cat hijinks. We just sold 22. That has sold out. Thank you so much. I also have a strand or two of this in the store if you want the whole strand. I think the strand's at $60. And I think the strand's at $60. And it might actually be, let me check something. Because I don't know if I have any in the online store or not. Because it would be on sale right now if we do. I have the faceted ones in the online store right now. No, the smooth ones are sold out. But I know I have some up at the shop. I have 2 strands, I think, at the shop. They're $68 in the online store. So if anybody is interested in that, sorry, thing flipped. If anybody's interested in an entire strand of those moonstone, I do have them. I wouldn't be able to get them until this weekend coming. So just let me know if you're interested. Trace's Midnight steals my beads all of the time. I know, they do that. But this one is also the one that tried to kill herself with shoelaces, and so I don't like her stealing strands of beads. Was there gray remain? I don't know, Anna. I'm still working my way through the box. Still working my way through the box here. We'll see. We'll see if I come to it tonight or not. Let's see here. Let me put green garnet. They all sold, right? Did I say those sold? I think those sold. That's the 21. Yes, those all sold. And let's see here. We just sold all of 20 as well. Thank you so much. IDB, what are you doing now? You're making me nervous. You have to go outside. Let's see here. Kim says, cats versus dog. My dog loves anything African. That's funny. If I'm not careful, my beads become kitty toys. I know, right? And when you have a house full of them like we do, it's a little bit scary sometimes. But they've come to know, for the most part, that they're not supposed to eat all the beads. 23. Okay. Let's see here. These were $3 each. I'm going to bring them down to $2 each. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me see. How many do I have in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. I think there's 12 of them. This is white African opal, or African white opal. Talk about African things. African white opal. Brooke says, I'm watching this while knitting, and my cat was showing a lot of interest in my yarn. She even started doing that little wind up they do before pouncing. Don't do that, right? Hello, Brooke, by the way. So white African opal. And these are drilled lengthwise through the center. And they are about 13 by 18 millimeters. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, 12 of them available. LGS 23, only $2 a bead. Why don't you something else, getting to spend the whole time in here? Huh. Getting to spend the whole time in here. Yeah, I love you. Okay, these were $5 each. I'm going to bring them down to $4. Let's see how many of these I've got. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 14 of these. These are Peruvian opal. Peruvian opal, beautiful. Some of them also look like they're a little bit dendritic, like a dendritic opal. People are buffering. Says, William, you sound like you took some helium. Oh boy, I don't know what's going on there. I should have really good internet here. I'm in the house today. So maybe something's weird on the stream. That happens sometimes. As long as you can understand me and see the things, that's what matters, right? Maybe everyone's saying it's buffering is on YouTube. I don't know if it's buffering on. I didn't notice it buffering on Facebook, but I don't have the sound on, so I guess I wouldn't notice that. All right, so these are Peruvian opal, all different sizes, all different shapes, $4 each, LGS 24. LGS 25. These were $2 each, and I have to leave those at $2 each because 2, 4, 6, 7 of these available. What you doing, baby? What you doing, sweet cat? These are red tiger eye. Beautiful vintage red tiger eye faceted ovals. Beautiful deep reds in these too. These are really good examples of red tiger eye. 15.5 by about 20.5 millimeters. LGS 25, 7 of them available. All right, we're done with 16. I'm going to put 16 away. That's the pyrite corner drilled rounded squares. Let's see, beautiful tiger eye, very underrated stone, I think. Yeah, the red is really, really pretty. Let's see here, 16, where does this go? 13, 15, 16. All right, let's move these down, move that down, move that down, move this down. All right, next up, LGS 26 coming up. We have sold all of the 25. Thank you so much. Let me put those away. Somebody liked that red tiger eye. A few people like that. 3 different people sold out. Do you hear Ida Bell purring? I don't know if you all can hear her across the room. It is so loud. she's having such a good time being in here because she doesn't usually get to come in here. All right. All right. These, I believe, are the gemmy parts of Pre-Night. I believe they're Pre-Night because they are $2 each. And if they were other stones, they'd probably be more. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 of them available. Nail Culture Official joined us. You should be on Whatnot. What is Whatnot? I don't know what Whatnot is. I don't know what that is. So these are Pre-Night drops. It's the gemmy part of the Pre-Night with no black in there. They're really pretty. And they are drops top drilled. And they're tiny, tiny, tiny. They're about 5 millimeters by about 9. 5 by 9 millimeters. They're $2 a piece. 14 of them available. Let's see, we just sold some of the 23s. We're down to 8 of these left. Thank you so much. Kim says, I have them. So pretty. Love them. These, yeah, these are really, really nice. We've just sold 2 of those, so we have 12 of them now left. What you doing, Idabelle? My darling girl. My little darling girl. Let me see. Okay, these were $5 each. I'm going to bring them down to, let's do $3.50. That's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. Hello, Pam. Thanks for joining us. I'm here tonight, William. Nice. Good to see you here. These are chrysoprase. Chrysoprase nuggets. Really kind of gemmy chrysoprase nuggets, too. They've got a little bit of the matrix, and then they're pretty dang gemmy. And those are $3.50 each only. They are center drilled. LGS 27. Really nice examples of that. What you doing, babe? Huh? Yeah. LGS 28. These were $8 each. I'm going to bring them down to $6 each, and there are 3 of them available. What are you doing? Huh? Aren't you just something? Aren't you just something in here all by yourself with me? Your sisters are going to be so jealous, aren't they? All right, these are $6 each, and these are big honkin' pieces of aquamarine, drilled lengthwise. Here's another one. Really nice, nice and blue aquamarine. Big pieces. Vintage. Vintage aquamarine. $6 each, down from 8. I've only got 3 left, so I'm giving you a good deal on those. LGS 28. I'm going to put the lava away since I think people are done grabbing at that. Maybe. Maybe. You can still grab at it if you want to. Did we sell any of the lava? No. Nobody wants the lava beads. Strange. For only $1? Wow. All right. That's okay. just surprises me. Always surprised. I love lava. And those are really nice, smooth, vintage coins. I'm going to also put the African white opal away. One more look at that. We've sold a few of those. This was a tremendously expensive strand originally. I think this whole strand was somewhere around $130. And we're down to just these few beads on it. So at $2 a bead, that is a really, really, really good deal on these. These are vintage white African opal. And it says, oh, that is all the lava? What number? Lava was number 18, and there were 8 of them available. And it says, what is 26? 26 is pre-night. Gemmy pre-night. It's pre-night without the black. Very gemmy pre-night. Okay, let me put the African white opal away. I'm surprised more people didn't jump on that one. Let's see. Oh, we just sold 6 of the 24. Thank you so much. We have 8 of those left, I think. Unless anybody else grabs some. I don't think they did yet, though. Oops. Where's my tag? There it is. Now she found a soft flex ring to play with. Those little rings that come on the outside of soft flex, that can keep her busy. That'll be good for her to play with. That bounces around. She's playing with it. That's cute. Okay, we had these at $5 each. I'll bring them down to 4 since we've only got 3 left. This is some lavender amethyst. Kim says, Pam, they are so pretty. In person, these are super pretty. Super duper pretty. Okay, we've sold 5 of the lava now. Thank you so much. So that means there are 3 of them still available. These are lavender amethyst, and this is such a cool shape. They're drilled lengthwise. Lavender amethyst, $4 each only, LGS 29. Ida bow. They're about 16 millimeters by 39 millimeters. And it's a shape you don't see. This is a vintage strand. It's a shape you don't see very often. It's just a really pretty kiss of the lavender amethyst. Brooks says that would make a good pendant. Yes, it would. These would make beautiful pendants. And if your ears can handle them, they'd make great earrings too. They're not super duper heavy. I know some people who would love that. But I know also a lot of people who would be like, that's too much. All right, I'm going to take the Peruvian opal away. Oops, I think I put the wrong thing in the wrong bag. No. Did I? Nothing in that bag then. That's from Lincoln, Sydney. Sorry, everybody, I misplaced a bag, and it's marked Peruvian opal so that I know what it is. Well, I know what it is anyway, but I always like to have that on there so that I don't second guess myself. We'll just throw it in this bag anyway. get out. Are you getting naughty? Do I take you out? Kick you out? Okay, that was 24. Let's move these down. Pre-night. Let's move down the chrysoprase, the aquamarine, and the lavender amethyst. Okay. LGS 30. Got just about 11 more to go or so. We'll do up to 40 tonight. Even though it could go on and on and on. We've got a big box of stuff here. I'm being a little picky choosy about what we look at. Ooh, here's some really nice smoky quartz. We had these at 8. I'll bring them down to 6. These are really high quality smoky quartz. Super duper stunningly beautiful smoky quartz. Smooth ovals. Sandra says I have some of 27. They are nice, aren't they? Oh, we just sold 2 of the 29, so we have 1 of those left. Thank you so much. And these are LGS 30, $6 each, down from 8. We've got 4 of these available. Look how beautiful they are. Smoky quartz. Nice color, beautiful clarity. Very, very few inclusions, if any at all, in those. And they are about 17.5 by 26.5. Wow, those are nice. All right, I'm going to put the pre-nights drops away. And I'm going to put the chrysoprase away. Only $3.50 for those. Good deal. Very good deal. That's the lowest we've ever gone on those. From my history of my tags. All right, let's move the aquamarine down. We sold, believe it or not, we sold these by the strand at one point. We had strands of this chunky aquamarine like this. They were 16, they were full strands, and they were mightily expensive, but we did have them. Now we only have those 3 left. We have 1 of these left, the lavender amethyst, and so far no takers on the 30 yet. Let's see here. What's coming up now? Some more citrine. These are nice citrine. Let me make sure these look good. Yeah, these are nice. LGS 31. We had these at, what did we have them originally? They were originally, wait a second, let me go back here. Let me go back to the first tag. Yeah, we originally had these at 6 each. I'm going to drop them. We only have 2 left, so I'm going to drop them to $4 each. Beautiful, beautiful citrine. If you like the other ones, but they were too big and chunky, this is a very nice, smaller size, but still an excellent, beautiful quality citrine. Just a kiss of that color in there, enough that you know, but a little bit of clarity too, a little bit of clear. Like a quartz clear. And there are only 2 of those left in our whole stash, $4 each, and then they're gone. We just sold both of those. Thank you so much. Take those away. I have a feeling those wouldn't last long. I really did not plan on doing these one at a time like this tonight, but I think it just worked out that way. You seem to be enjoying it, so that's good. Oh, I love these. They don't sell well, and I don't know why. These are blue chalcedony. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them available. We had them at $5 each. I'm going to bring them down to 4. These are so cool because they're so like oddly shaped. Like I enjoy these so much. And they're drilled through the top. So they are top drilled, squiggly little shapes in the blue chalcedony. And they're so fun. Like, I just think they're so interesting. Only $4 each. LGS 32. Those are my kind of bead. I love designing with things that are like oddly shaped, and these are very cool. I think, anyway. Maybe people don't like them. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We don't seem to sell many of them, so I don't know why. The Mercury retrograde over, and maybe that's why, but get it for next time. Get them for next time. All right, here's some amethyst. Some beautiful amethyst. Big, chunky pieces. More of a light amethyst color. I wouldn't say quite lavender amethyst, but it's not the dark, deep purple. It's probably natural because it's not been heat treated to make it even darker. That's my guess on it. And these are about 13 by 20 millimeters and only $3 each. All right, I'm going to put away the aquamarine. This is I do, sent request. Let me see, I haven't gotten that yet. This is 28. Let's see, I just sold two of the 33s. Thank you so much. Still nothing coming in for 32. If that's the one you meant, Anna. I'm going to put 29 away also. We have one of those still left. If anybody's interested. It's the lavender amethyst. All right, let's see here. I just got, there they are. I sold 4 of these so far, the 32s. So thank you so much. There are 5 of them still left. 5 of them still left. Nobody wants the 30. I'm surprised because those are some of the most perfect smoky quartz. Maybe they look too much like glass. Sometimes when they look too much like glass, people don't want them. LGS 34. Da, da, da. Remember, you don't get to pick, y'all, because I put these back in a bag. So no picking and choosing. Some people are trying to pick and choose, but I just throw them in a bag and then I pick from there. That's the way this game has to be played. Sorry. Otherwise, I'd be here forever going back and forth to the video for each lot. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of these. They were $4 each. I'll bring them down to $3 each. 8 of them available. Okay. We have LGS 34 is ametrine. Ametrine. Citrine and amethyst. These are mostly amethyst, but they've got some of the kind of fading into a little bit of the citrine in there. LGS 34. LGS 34. 8 of them available, $3 each. White Feather has asked, may I ask, how do we register to purchase? It's scrolling along the bottom here. You take down the lot number, the LGS number, put it in the subject line of an email, and send that email to us at info@allegorygallery.com. If you send an email, you are promising to buy it. That is the deal. That is the deal you make. If you get it, you are promising to buy it, but everything is first come, first serve, so people may beat you out to it. But you just send an email to info@allegorygallery.com with the lot number in the subject line and how many you would like. So for example, if you want LGS 32 and you want 2 of them, LGS 32 times 2 in the subject line. And then if you're new or if you've updated your address, please be sure to send us your shipping address as well. We'll need that to process the order. All right. And welcome. Thank you for joining us. Anna says, beads, top priority in our lives. Well, and cat food. I know, right? Beads and making sure our cats are fed, that's pretty much the life, right? Everything else has to come after those things. All right, and then the way this works is at the end of the night, I go through, I make a spreadsheet, and usually within about an hour of the show ending, I will have the spreadsheet done, and I will send you out an invoice via Square that you can pay with a credit card. All right. Boy, I got more charwhite. How do I keep coming up with more and more beautiful charwhite? Is that charwhite? Is that what? That's charwhite, right? Yeah. That's a deep, deep charwhite there. These were $5 each. I only have 2 left, so I'll bring them down to $4. Beautiful charwhite. Deep, deep purple color on those. 2 of them available, $4 each. Okay, I'm going to put LGS 30 away. Those are the smoky quartz. move these down. We still have, let's see, 32. We've sold 4 of those, so we still have 5 of the 32s available. 33s. Let's see, we still have 5 of those available. The ametrine, I think we have all of the ametrine still available. And then the charlite, we still have available as well. Check my email, check my junk, make sure nobody's going in the junk mail. Good going on there. And LGS 36. These are cute. These were $3. I'm going to drop them down to $2 each since there's only 2 of them left. These are aquamarine faceted rondelles. $2 each. They are approximately 13.5 millimeters. LGS 36. LGS 36. Put the rest of these ones away, the blue chalcedony. Maybe, if I can get them all here. LGS 32. LGS 33. Move these down a little bit. LGS 37. What else do you want to see, everybody? What do you want to see? Oh, I like these. These are a non-dyed natural howlite. Oh, we sold both of 35. Those are sold out. Thank you so much. Let me put those away. Y'all are helping me clean out some of the last of these that we've got. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Now, what did I just do? Let's see here. Oops. Let's see here on this. How many do I have? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I've got 10 of these. Let's do them for, these are really nice. This was a pretty expensive strand, actually. It's a vintage one. Let's do them at $2.50 each only. I think that's a good deal. They're really, really pretty. They're super duper light. You know, howlite's a very light stone. So they're super nice, super pretty. They've got that beautiful gray in them. And they're a faceted rectangle. They're all a little bit different, but they are about 13 by 17 millimeters. And they are LGS 37, $2.50 each. I think natural howlite is a very, very beautiful stone. Super pretty. It does not get the credit it deserves because it's so easily dyed that they dye it all the time. But by itself, it's a really, really pretty stone. And it's unusual to see it actually, the care taken to make it a faceted rectangle like that. It looks like a very high-end stone. When you talk about, we were joking about how people called it white turquoise, and everyone for a while was like hungry for white turquoise and paying a fortune for it. I can see why. because this looks like such a pretty stone. Let's see, what else do I got in my bag? My bag of goodies. Actually, my box of goodies. These are really cool. This is a Peruvian opal, technically a blue Peruvian opal. There's not much blue left in these. In these ones, I'm going to bring them down to, they were 8 per bead. I'm going to bring them down to 6 per bead. But they're really, really pretty Peruvian opal. And kind of unique, like they look so cool. Really pretty stones. And that's LGS 38. All right, I'm going to put 33 away. If anybody wants to grab any more of these before I put them away, LGS 33. Do I have a bag for that? I don't think so. Ida Bell has passed out. She is passed out on the floor. It's very cute. Oops, that bag's not going to work. Where are all my bags going? That's the one that tells me what that one is. Let's do this one. How's everybody doing out there? Hanging in there? Hanging in there, everybody? Thank you for hanging out with me. I love the conversation at the beginning of the night, and I'm thankful for y'all hanging out with me tonight. Susan Zaw, Ida Bell, being a little kitty is hard work. I know, right? She done passed out after all that carpet scraping to get in here. Little naughty thing. I'm going to put the ametrine away, LGS 34. LGS 36, LGS 37, LGS 38, LGS 39 coming right up. Maybe not right up. Let's see what we've got. Ooh. These were 6 each. Let's bring them down to 4. How many of these do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these. 10 of these available. These are some beautiful old ocean jasper. Look at all these. Beautiful ocean jasper coins, large coins. Look at the patterns, look at the beautiful colors. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Beautiful. Look at all these. Only $4 each now. That's a good deal. Vintage ocean jasper, 35 millimeter coins, LGS 39. We just sold some of the howlite. Thank you so much. Pam says the ocean jasper is nice. It's not just nice, it is beautiful. Ocean jasper nowadays, the modern stuff, you don't get a lot of the patterns like this. I particularly like this one. It's almost like mold growing on there, right? It kind of looks like that, but I love it anyway. LGS 40. Last one tonight. What do I got for y'all? I've got one of these available. It was 10. I'm going to bring it down to 8. And this is Lodolite. Lodolite. All right, so that's Lodolite. Pam says, was there a difference between white halite and white buffalo? I've never heard of white buffalo stone, so I couldn't tell you, Pam. Anybody else know the answer to that? Let's ask the group. I've never actually heard of white buffalo stone, though. Maybe it's because it is the same. I don't know. White halite is often called white turquoise, but I've never heard of white buffalo. And again, last one, Lodolite. One of these available. This is a big one. It is approximately 26.5 by 40. And it says white buffalo was a fancy name for it. Ah, there it is. Pam says Candy Cooper has mentioned it. I've never heard it before, but there Anna said that it is a fancy name for white halite. Yeah, people have called it a number of things. Like I said, it used to be, we've heard white turquoise because there used to be a run on this. People are like, do you have white turquoise? Do you have white turquoise? I'm like, you know, it's just halite. It's not real turquoise. Yeah. Nope, white halite. Apparently the same thing. We've always just called it white halite or regular halite. Let's see here. Somebody sent me an email, said they believe they got the right number for the smoky quartz. I just want to confirm you did. Yes, you got the right number. Thank you so much. That's one thing on our lives. We will never say who got what unless you ask. So it's nobody's business, we feel. So I'll never be like, oh, thank you so much, so-and-so, for getting that, because that's nobody's business but yours, who gets what. But if you do ask us, did I get the right number, or did I get that? Did it sell out? Did I get it before it sold out? I will answer that for you. If you ask, we will answer. But otherwise, it's nobody's business what you buy, right? Some people really don't want the world knowing what they're purchasing, and we try to honor that as best as we can. All right, so that, my friends, is the show for tonight. 40 lots tonight of loose gemstones. This is going to be one big spreadsheet. These are always my biggest spreadsheets, and it always takes the longest amount of time to tally up. The invoices, like I said, usually come out about an hour after, anywhere up to an hour after the show ends. So this is probably going to be on the kind of hour-ish side of things, but I will get them out tonight, and then I'm going to go make some dinner. So thank you all so much for hanging out with us tonight. We really do appreciate it. I hope you like the loose gemstones. If you have any questions, please feel free to send me an email, and I will try and do my best to answer. And that's it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Have an amazing, amazing night. And we'll see you back here at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time with more great talk and more great lots of good things. All right. Have a great one, everyone. Good night.